Mr. Creative Jams. You ready for me yet?
Why they so worried about where I'm at? I be where I be.
So, where was I? I had an ADHD moment. Where was I? Where was I, family? Where was I?
There's one group I don't apologize. And that's you trifling, filthy, drama addicted, hate-filled, sensationalized content looking, troublemaking, rumor spreading, gossip exploding Negroes.
This is not a government-funded activity. I have the right to discriminate.
Shut your ass up. You coon ass niggas, I'm not being Mr. Nice Guy with you no more. Fuck you. Shut up or I'm gonna kick you off my page.
It only takes a little bit of white brainwash to activate the coon chip.
What you wanna do? You wanna box, nigga? You wanna street rumble or you wanna get into the intellectual boxing ring?
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. That was the dumbest shit I heard all day.
I almost puked, but let me stay focused. I got a gut. That's all right. I can handle mine though, homie. You can believe that. That's right. Your ass lifting weights because it makes you feel equal. Cause you insecure, so you got to be all big and muscle bound. So you feel equal. Well, guess what? You can lift all the weights in the world and you'll never be 6'3", nigga. You can talk about my gut all day, but I'm sexy with mine. I'm fine. I'm cool in my skin. I can get rid of the gut, but you'll never be 6'3". I can get rid of the gut, Big Papa, nigga. That's why I'm Big Papa. I can get rid of the gut, but you'll never be 6'3".
And we're ready to go.
About time.
Oh, I forgot to take down. I was watching that and I forgot to take down the thing.
I love that
Good
beat.
old
I was like trying to come up with some rhymes. I mean, here like critically drinking, we yelling this thing, critically drinking. Let the conversation be. I don't know. I was trying to come up with something. That was
Yeah.
hot.
I
Woohoo.
like it. I like it. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to Critically Drinking. I'm your host, Rashawn, and as you see, we have a hostess here. We have Candid in the building.
Up in
We got
here.
Inya in the chat. We got OG Patrice in the chat. We got
Yeah.
Greg Bryant in the chat on last week's episode. Mary caught them hands for losing a pair of shorts. Let's see if she
Whoa.
learned her lesson.
Oh.
And ew, Umar kissing the screen. I knew you would like that. I knew you would like that one, Inya. I knew you would like that one. So I had that a while back, but I never updated it. So I finally updated some stuff over the
That's
the
hot.
weekend. So thank you, Von Eric, for that beat. Von Eric, appreciate you for sending that beat. Now listen, guys. I know what the thumbnail says. I know what the title says, but we're having a different conversation today. I do want to let you all know. I get it. I get it. I saw the analytics on the Mental Monday. I saw it on the Solutions Thursday. You guys really aren't interested in that. So, again, there's no point in me trying to force feed stuff down you guys' throat that you don't want. But we will often have, here and there, some of those type of conversations. But I'll try to mix it up a little bit more. We got, let me see. I don't want to just pull her in if she's not. I'll let Bree come in when she's ready. Okay, cute. There she go. Let me see. Bam, give me a second. Boo, boo, boo. What up, Bree?
Hello. My internet is so ghetto. Can y'all hear me?
The ghetto,
Yeah, we
not
can
the
hear you.
ghetto.
The ghetto. Woo,
Okay.
child.
Can you hear my AC? Can you hear the AC?
No.
No,
Okay.
there's a low
I would
hum,
cam
but I
up,
can't really.
but
Do what you need to do.
I'm gonna look like
It's
a
very
Minecraft
casual.
character. Yeah, y'all ain't gonna
Very
see me.
Oh. Give me a second. My computer's doing something. Oh, Lord Jesus Christ.
Ooh,
am I
ooh,
gone?
ooh, ooh. You're a little bit stuck. In the
Yeah, my computer's doing something. So if you can hear me, just
yeah, we
drop
can
me
hear
down,
you.
Bree, if you can.
Oh, okay. I was like,
All
is
right,
it
so
my internet? Is it
ooh, is
contagious?
it a takeover?
I was like, is it contagious? My internet being raggedy. It's not my internet. It's my mama internet. So
Oh, that's Lois's internet.
this lowest internet. Y'all want to see? Look, if I cam up, I'm like really cute. I just did a photo shoot for my brand, so I'm gonna show y'all. But yeah.
Nice. Oh, okay.
Can you even
Oh,
see
you're
me?
stuck. It's like really pixelated. Okay, there you go. There you go. Yeah. I won't dare turn my shit on. No way, no
Yeah.
sir.
So this is me.
I was
But I'm
doing
sure it'll
chores
just be
today.
like a slideshow.
I love the hat. Is it like the hat has the ears on it?
Yeah. It's
So
like
is this an elephant ear?
It's I don't know. They're just floppy.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what animal it is.
Cute.
But we'll turn it off because it's about to be a slideshow. So
Very, very cute.
I
While
don't
we
know
wait
what
for
happened to him. Lord
Arshawn.
have mercy. I know it's not a retrograde, is it?
Ugh, I don't know. I don't look at all that kind of weird stuff.
The world has been weird lately, though. So we'll just charge it to the game. Sorry, I'm late.
What is certified
hopefully he'll come
otaku?
Yeah. Oh, that's from yesterday. When I streamed, like anime fan. It was just we always put like little stuff under our names when we Twan and myself stream. So
Did I say it right? Otaku.
Yeah, otaku.
Ooh.
We don't know where he went. Thank you.
Did you see what we're talking about today, though?
He didn't really. He was like very elusive when he told me. So I don't know.
All right, I'll wait. I think I'm gonna, because he might have, he's really good with the background stuff, so I'm gonna have him introduce it the proper way to the audience. Yeah, how have you been though, Bree?
I've been great. It's a month out from my convention, so all of my inventory has come in. So I was taking photos of products and
nice,
things like that, and
Arshawn is having Oh, sorry to interrupt you. I apologize. Arshawn is going to be right back, you guys. He's having some technical difficulties. His computer started doing some weird stuff, so he had to drop out of his own stream. He'll be right back. We're just holding tight until he returns. Sorry about that.
Yes. No, it's okay. I'm definitely not a furry. There are two different communities. They on the other side.
Ooh, for the people that like to do freaky, how you do freaky things in the fur though?
In the suit, I'm good on that. That sound hot, right? Like not hot, like sexy, like hot, like sweaty hot.
Like in the worst way.
Yeah, in the worst way. So no, thank you on that. I don't know, but hey, I'm not gonna yuck your yum. Is that what we say? I'm not gonna yuck their yum.
That's food. Can we call a thing a thing? No, I mean, furry is the people. Come on, it's strange. It's a little strange, but hey, you like it. I'm not looking down on you. I'm just saying it's different. It's different.
Yeah, you're supposed to say, you like it, I love it. That's what you're supposed to say.
No, I ain't gonna say that, but you enjoy it. You're not hurting yourself. There you go.
Yeah, it's always something in this town. Let's see.
It's the man.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. That was ridiculous. Exactly. That's what I say. That's exactly what I say. Give me a quick second while I try to pull my stuff back in, because I had to restart the entire thing.
Oh, I smell so good.
Oh, I got scared. What did you say? What did you say?
I smell so good.
Okay.
Because I did I woke up early today, and I did the I was doing some backdoor stuff, and it gets sweaty. It's like really humid. Lord, let me rewind. I was outside mowing the lawn.
Okay.
Oh,
I was mowing the lawn.
Face.
Clip that. Clip it.
I was like,
I was
ooh,
mowing
this
the
is
lawn,
getting
and
better.
it is so humid outside. that got really sweaty, so I took a shower. And you know how I am about the showers. Then after the shower, you know, I got perfume. So yeah, feeling nice and refreshed
That's
after all
always
that
nice.
work.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
is nice.
So we're waiting for our
Okay.
hostess with the mostest to introduce the topic to the people.
So we are actually going to talk about two different things, none of which is the thumbnail. That's why where I left the thumbnail and the title, it's going to be off because I'm calling an audible. Again, I say, well, I read the analytics. I see that what you guys are just totally not interested in. Okay, I'm not going to again force anything down your throats. Again, pause, Greg. But I do understand that people need or want something different. No, every now and then maybe there'll be a little more vegetable, but I guess we need to have some stuff that people want. There's no point in me getting up here to talk if that's not what people want to hear. So y'all didn't want to tell me directly. That's cool. I get it through the analytics. That's not what you're interested in. So today we're going to talk about two things. Our brother Clarence was having a conversation, and he asked me specifically to have our crew talk about something. So I wanted to bring it to Bree and Candid Ann. And then the second thing we're going to talk about is that a lady and son in Chicago who were charged for homicide, murder, and not exactly the specific charge, but we'll talk about that secondarily. But I did want to introduce this video, and I'll explain what Brother Clarence wanted us to talk about. He wanted our perspective on something. But let me add this in. Let you ladies in the crowd listen. Let me see. As long as there's a safe word, no can mean yes. Yes. Establish a safe word.
This is biased, incompetent, shoddy work.
Listen, just because your penis has a certain melanin to it, don't make it gold. It functions and does the same thing as everybody else's.
We are better than you niggas, period.
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
So I'm just trying to figure out why are we trying to.
No, I disagree with you. I disagree with you.
Oh, okay. Well, hey.
The black man.
I totally disagree with him too.
The black man's movements in the bedroom are hypnotic.
Not the face. Beautiful music. Sing it, Tamar.
Hey!
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
That as women, that you let a penis penetrate your friendship. Penis!
Stop it.
Penis!
Get some help.
Stop it. Get some help. Good people. So we wanted to start this conversation about penis.
I needed to be cammed up so y'all can see my face.
Yeah, you know, Brother Clarence was he had a couple of hours of conversation. He had a really long conversation about penis yesterday. I was shocked to hear so much talk about penis on Let's Talk the Better Black Life. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in. But I listened to as much of it as I could. I have a couple hours left to listen to. But the premise, ladies, is that men should withdraw from the sexual marketplace, go on a penis strike to get women to come back to the table in good faith.
What?
Yes. So what do you two ladies
I'm trying.
think
What's the
about that
correlation?
Like
What's
to come back
how's
to the table
them
in good
removing-
faith. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
how's
if we take this ding-a-ling of gold off the table, you ladies will come crawling back
We'll start acting right.
We'll start to act right. We'll come back into the conversation because that ding-a-ling of gold will just have that, that it'll draw y'all back in, and y'all wanna be submissive. If
He's confused. You guys are so fucking confused. Okay. Do you want to start, Bree?
Cannon, I'm gonna let you go first. I don't know. I almost laughed myself off of this fucking planet because the fact that most of y'all niggas think y'all got dinglings of gold is hilarious. How do we decide if you have a dingling of gold? What is the standard to
the lies
actually
that we
know?
tell them? The lies that we get them to hurry the fuck up. They really believe them lies, so they think that thing is worth it. But you're just trying to hurry up so I can go get my nails done.
I'm trying to figure out how a bunch of hetero black straight men know that their peen is superior and their stroke game is better. Have they tried out another race's stroke game? That's my question. How are we comparing this? Are we watching the strokes? Are we testing them out ourselves? Because how do you as a cis hetero man make that statement? I'm just curious. I just want to know where the data comes from.
That is a great
question.
Listen,
when Brother Clarence said no, Vaughn, yeah, black men's movement is hypnotic. I was like, that's an interesting, it's an interesting statement. I can't follow you. Was it what was that? Natalie Portman. What was her character in Star Wars?
Oh, she said I can't follow
Queen Amidala. You're going down a path that I can't follow. I was like, Jesus Christ!
He's getting dazed and confused, mixed up with hypnotic.
Y'all wrong.
Confusion and hypnotic is not the same thing.
Y'all ain't gotta play us like that. I mean, it's
So here's the thing,
I just laugh. Go ahead.
The thing about it is like,
it's a good point, Greg.
I'm like, every time I open my mouth, I'm like, Andrea, don't get fired. Don't get fired. Don't get fired. Right. So I'm trying not to get fired, but here's the thing. So before I go on, he's trying to say that black men's peen is better than white men's peen, or he's just saying that in general women will act right if men in general, white, black, or whatever color you are, that if men would just withhold sex, then women would act right.
I believe the premise is that men in general, but they were black men talking, so they were saying that there's a plus, there's a peen plus, the peen plus subscription, because there's a whole historical connotation about black men's sexuality and virility. So it's if black women were removed from that peen plus subscription, they would get some act right in society.
Here's the thing: is that who out of men and women who values sexual intercourse more? I'm not saying enjoy. I'm saying who covets. Like when I want a relationship, who's out of male and female? We're just making a generalization. Who wants food, sex, and silence? Right, that sex is always a thing. Women want love and attention and protection and money, honey. When do we ever in general, it's men who constantly want sex. So I think that if he was going to truthfully make this worthwhile, this premonition worthwhile, women would have to withdraw for JJ. In order to get you guys to act right, because everything is done. You guys are motivated through us. I don't know if you guys do a damn thing. Like if it wasn't motivated behind a woman, you guys don't do very oftentimes most of the things that you do are motivated because of women. Yep. The reason why you wash your ass, the reason why you get money, the reason why you cut your hair, the reason why you want fresh clothes, the reason why you want a fresh car, a nice belt. Most of that stuff is because you want to impress a woman, because you're trying to get to the goods.
I mean, I can't argue with you. I think black men are going to fuck around and find out how many black women would love not to be sexualized. They will take up that offer and be content. Jesus Christ. I don't know that I agree with you. I don't think that withholding sex would be the incentive. I don't think it will work in men's favor. Man, I really just don't. Women do withhold vagina. That's how society happens. Canada is 100% right here. I don't know. I just don't think that it would actually incentivize women to, because women are adaptable. Women will adapt. Women seem to be far more able to go long stretches of time without having sex and to keep living normally without becoming strangely socialized, like antisocial. Women can go on these long celibacy journeys and come out fine on the other side, you know, relatively. Guys, on the other hand, if we see the guys who are basically on an involuntary celibacy journey, they don't come out all right. I don't know if it's the violent being voluntarily going on a celibacy journey or just not having sex, period, that makes you weird. I don't know. But I don't know that a lot of guys not having sex is beneficial. I don't know that would work. I can't see that doing anything for women. What's up in there?
Okay, sorry. My sound went out, so I had to restart my computer.
Yeah, do whatever. Yeah,
but
we need to do.
Oh, is it my turn to say what I think?
I mean, if you got something to say, go ahead. Please.
Oh, okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't coming back in the middle of like a thought or anything. So I was just making sure. Yeah, I don't think anybody's checking for dick like that to make that a valuable strategy. And most of this teen out here, I feel like, I think most people overestimate their ability. I don't think that's man or woman specific, right? I think most women gonna walk around saying they got good pussy too. Like I'm not saying this is a overconfidence only on the side of men, but like let's be real, most people are probably gonna overestimate how much they bring into the bedroom as far as their genital game. So I just don't think nobody's really, I mean, that would be to project that we care about it as much as men generally care about it and are driven by it. And most of the time, that's just not the case.
Yeah. Ooh. Why can't men just realize they're the problem and just fix the issue? You know what? It would be a lot easier. It would be a lot easier just lay the blame at women's feet. I think Apex, what we need to do is just keep letting women think that they're the complete issue. And if we stop having sex with them, if we're like, no relationships, no sex, ladies, no ma'am.
It would be great. It would be great. I could walk outside and not be harassed. Wow, I could just walk. I could just exist. I can just like not be. Wow. I mean, please, can y'all do that? Please, can y'all start tomorrow? Actually, yeah, I think y'all should actually go with that. We would be so.
Why we
would be so sad. Yeah. Oh my God, we would miss y'all so much. Can we just, can y'all
and
start?
I think with the absence of men's actual real life peen, I think women have been completely satisfied with that doggone rose. I mean, I think, if we had to compare the rose to a man, I think the rose is batting better than the man getting us from A to O.
Neck and neck. It's neck and neck. I mean, I might have to invest in the stock. When y'all decide to do that, I'm going to invest in Lilo. I'm going to invest in the Rose, whatever company makes them. Let me go invest in a whole bunch of the sex toys.
Battery companies, whoever makes batteries, Duracell.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if your hand job thing is the same as that the Poontang, but that Rose, though, and then them toys and stuff, easily replace you in terms of the bedroom.
Especially if there's nothing else being brought along with that in the bedroom.
Exactly.
Like if you're just gonna bring problems along with it, then I'll just take the toy. I would take the toy. Wow. Personally, yeah, it ain't worth it. Ain't no pain or stress. Ruined credit, high blood pressure, fighting, drama, just no.
We're not that bad, people. We are not that bad. We got Von Eric in the building. Hello. And Yella, man, how you feeling today? And I'm not sure what you've heard. Let me know what you've heard and if I need to play the little clip video again. It doesn't really add context at all. But I can just tell you what the conversation's about. Let me know what you heard so far.
I'm almost tempted to hear the out of context
clip. Out of context video. Oh yeah, let's do it. It's not that long. It's not long.
Let's get out of
is biased, incompetent, shoddy work.
Listen, just because your penis has a certain melanin to it, don't make it gold. It functions and does the same thing as everybody else's.
We are better than you niggas. Period.
I beg your pardon.
So I'm just trying to figure out why are we trying to.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you.
Oh, okay. Well, hey.
The black
I
man.
totally disagree with him too.
The black man's movements in the bedroom are hypnotic.
He said what?
He said the black man's movements in the bedroom are.
I think I heard what he said. Nigga, I heard what he said.
We thought you needed a repetition of it.
I just needed to say it again. I just needed to say it. It needed to be said.
That was more of
a rhetorical. I know.
That was more of a, oh no, we not gonna definitely not explain it like that. We not gonna definitely not. We are most definitely not gonna explain it like that. Oh Lord, have mercy.
That's a good question, Craig. That's a good question. Hold up. Come on, Yellow. Ain't no way. On God's green earth, I would ever.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure.
I'm the captain.
I'm the captain now.
That as women, that you let a penis penetrate your friendship. A penis!
Stop it. Get some help.
Every time she yelled it, I jumped every time she yelled it.
Penis! I love it. How did the conversation even start? I can't remember. They were talking about the submersible versus submarine right before that, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not exactly sure how they slipped into penis.
That makes sense. That's a hell of a that's an easy transition. Deep dive, splish splash. How deep can you get? Somewhat. I mean, there's links. I can say there's links.
So the question on the table, because what they said was, men should withdraw the ding-a-ling of gold from the sexual marketplace. We should quit having sex. We should quit putting that on the table so that women return in good faith to the gender conversation so that we can actually have resolution and start to build families and all that. Women have to get some act right. They have to come, like, again, this isn't to make them capitulate, it's to make them just have honest dialogue with us so that we can work on some solutions. So, just keep it in your pants, gentlemen. Keep it in your pants.
What did old girl say yesterday? We was watching the podcast. She was like, respectfully, that's the dumbest shit I've never heard.
But he said he wanted to hear your opinion on that. He wanted to hear your opinion on it. Specifically.
Respectfully, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard. Look, I just want to say this. Where in the becoming a man thing did we start telling fellas not to go? The one thing we ain't finna do is tell the fellas not to go get no coochie. What is wrong with you? What's wrong with you, niggas? Niggas is crazy. What the hell you think we sitting up on these panels having these conversations with these women folk? Because we want some coochie. And we not finna take no steps to be away from that. Okay? I'm just saying, look. Y'all want the real? He want to know how I really feel about it? Shit, this is how I feel about it. Whole point behind me and trying to get cool women so we get more coochie, less problems. More coochie, less problems. Less coochie equals more problems. That's working backwards.
That's math, isn't it? I think that was a math problem.
Yeah.
I agree. I think also that men become more violent when they are not having regular.
Yeah, it's really act right for y'all, not us. It's really act right for y'all.
For y'all.
Not
See,
us.
there's not having it. There's not having it, and then there's not having the ability to get it.
True.
And I think the problem comes when a lot of motherfuckers who really ain't got the ability to go get it start having an opinion about it.
Fair enough.
You know, you don't want no coochie, get your ass out the way. Go sit on the sideline. You don't want to get out here and get this. Same thing if it was money, sports, but you ain't trying to get out here. Please go sit on the sideline, sir.
That reminds me of a clip I just saw. Let me find that while y'all talking.
You got cheeks out here need to be clapped. Okay.
It's just
I
ridiculous.
really think that women should keep their legs closed to get you guys to act right. Like,
see,
exactly. That's like the opposite.
It's the complete opposite. It seems to me that men are always making these statements that I don't know if it's supposed to be reverse psychology or some shit. You know, we're gonna withhold to get y'all to act right. When really it's y'all that need that. Like this bullshit. Like people keep talking about I'm the prize. Are you? You know, you know, this nonsense about like on these panels also I hear people talking about, oh, you're married. As if fucking marriage is a fucking prize. Like I'm just married. It's not like some thing that I won or some thing that I accomplished. I just happen to be married. You know, it's just people be doing too much.
There's a lot of, I was just going to say, there's a lot of things that would help the person that you're with get in line and act right. And peeing is not the only way. But see, the thing is, that's what most of y'all were born with, right? So then y'all would like to believe it's the only way. It's a lot of ways to get a woman to chill out and act right in a relationship.
I mean,
and it ain't just stroke game, because most niggas don't have. Never mind. It ain't just stroke game.
I mean, yeah, everybody can't go to that. Everybody can go to that weapon. However,
I'm not saying there's some good but I'm just saying there's other ways. It's not the only way to get your partner to be a more, you know, open to your, you know, willing part to your leadership and your desires and your ask of them. There's a lot of other ways to get somebody to be more.
It could have the whole exact opposite effect. She'd be crazy as hell because you get up in there and break something. You get up in there and knock something off track, throw off the rhythm with some
off
shit.
Track?
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Shit.
Yes, Risa. Yeah, that was a little wild. I'm gonna play this clip because they said something similar to what Yella said. It's talking about body count, but it's the same premise that Yella comes to. But I want to bring that in real quick. It's only a minute 30 seconds.
Most dudes who on they square and pursuing their business and walking in there and what they supposed to, them is not asking your body count.
So you saying body count doesn't matter to a real man?
Body count matters to dudes who not in the count.
Ooh. Oh Lord! No, it didn't.
I ain't never met no dude. That's what I'm saying. I've never met a man who's had the, and ladies, I'm not saying it's like y'all easy. I've never met a man who had the ability to actually be with the woman that he wanted. Because most dudes with the women they got access to, not the women they want. I don't know a lot of men who with the women they want, who be worried about who else she. I got money. I know the spots. I can take you wherever the rest of them niggas take you. I'm confident in what I got. I'm not worried about who else you with. Only a dude who not on his square is worried about community. I don't roll in the community.
There's the right ladies to dry yourselves up with.
Respectfully, I can say a Just Mike. I can say an Ace Metaphor. I'm looking at some of the nodding in the room. I don't even roll in the community that you was handing that out to. I don't. I'm not gonna run into the dudes that you with. The dudes who happy and want to point the finger like, oh, I f***ed her. That don't shop where I shop. He don't land where I land. Respectfully, it's the same.
It was ignorant, but it was making that point that Yellow was saying. There's different levels of access, and they have different levels of conversation based upon their level of access. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Who is this man? He's spitting. He's on this show called Tonight's Conversation. They have a paid app. I don't know his name. I know the main guy is Ace Metaphor, the guy that was like, that's Ace Metaphor, and his app. But they have little clips that they put on YouTube, Tonight's Conversation. If y'all ever want to see some of those, I went ahead and paid for the subscription. I was watching it on Twitch. We can do some of that over here on YouTube. It might be more, some more people are interested in. But Yell, I thought he was speaking to what you were saying. What you think about that? And the ladies jump in.
No, yeah, that's basically, he hit the nail on the head. And even if she gets some dude who 10 times better than me, I still don't care. Like, once that Gucci gone, that Gucci gone. If I ain't got access to it, I ain't worried about it no more. So I ain't finna be sitting up like, yeah, I hit first, or I fucked her too. But, if I went first, then you know what I'm saying, I really ain't got bragging rights or nothing. So, man, look. Yeah, I'm not finna be sitting up worried about no cause like I said, I ain't dating no young women, so I ain't worried about no 30-something-year-old woman body count. She probably didn't put up numbers. I don't know. She better have put up numbers. You're gonna have to have some kind of experience coming over here. I mean, shit. Hey, look, 30. Look, in the age range I'm dating, shit, you done went through your college whole phase, your grown whole phase. You probably been married, so you done went through your divorced whole phase. You done went through your self-love whole phase. You done went through your discovering myself whole phase. You done probably went through your lesbian, I'm tired of these niggas whole phase. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I sit here and be concerned about your past? Oh yeah, basically, every journey includes a whole phase, Kenny.
I mean, that might just be a hoe.
You know what I'm saying?
I think that's a hoe. If every stage of life translates to a hoe phase, she might just be a hoe. And that's okay. Hoes need love too, but she might just be a hoe.
I mean,
I these conversations about women's body count, I don't really get into it, to be honest with you. I really don't, because I don't have any experience in all this body count nonsense. Been married hella long, so why men care about it, I don't know. It got nothing to do with me. Like, it dead ass has nothing to do with me whatsoever. If my feeling is, if a particular guy feels like, he feels disrespected because the woman that he's with has a high body count, then there's other women out there. She's not for you. Find someone else. If another guy don't care, hey, she's available. Like, why do we have to have these fucking conversations about how many women she's been with? She's going to be for somebody. Because at the end of the day, the vajayjay is still valuable. It's still valuable. So all these conversations about nobody wants this, somebody wants it. I don't know why men feel like their opinion is the one that all men have, right? So somebody's going to want it, somebody's not going to want it. What is it to talk?
I just don't think people are really asking that. I mean, the last time I heard anybody talk about body counts was like in high school, when everybody was kind of just like very young, and maybe you're just getting started, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, and it's like how many. But I'm like, beyond like high school, like, are people? I don't hear anybody asking about. All the people I date, I just never had anybody ask.
People with remedial ass thinking may be thinking about that.
Yeah, I don't think. It's becoming to the conversation maybe because they're like, why can't I get the outcomes I want? Maybe it's body count. It feels like, like they're trying to do some analysis of why it's not working out for them, and maybe that's why it's coming to the conversation. But I feel like regular people, I don't hear people talk about it.
Yeah, and I just brought that in because it paralleled what Yellow was saying about the guys having different levels of access, having different types of conversations, and where they put the onus on, that internal and external locus of control, like Candidae likes to bring up. So there's that thing where, it's the woman. It must be her and her body count or something else. Or like even in the conversation about the penis, like, well, it must be her. If we withdraw the penis, then she'll act. Well, no, you have to learn to be on your purpose, or be on. I hate using that word, but you have to learn to do what you need to do for yourself. Like, I think that's the primary thing. It doesn't matter who you do or do not have sex with. You need to be doing what you need to do as a human being. And I think a lot of the other stuff will sort itself out. Red pill dudes keep droning on it because I don't think they have a way to internalize accountability. They want to make it somebody else's problem. Because like Kansas Dan said, you don't have to deal with somebody who has a high body count. So it really is a talking point that doesn't have anything to do with you unless you're looking for a woman with a high body count. It doesn't even matter.
She still probably don't want your ass, and you upset about it.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it doesn't even matter. If you don't have anybody, why are you worried about that person? It's kind of weird to you don't know how to get one person. That's like to Yella's point. If you don't know how to get access to one person, why are you worried about this whole group of people? It's weird.
And like I said, like if it matters to you, I respect that, like 100%. Like, if a woman has a high one and you don't like that, that's fine. Move on. There are other people out there that don't. Why we got to keep talking about it? It's almost like, I don't like this shirt, and I'm gonna keep going on about this damn shirt. There's so many other things to put on to cover my back with. Why are we going on about this particular shirt?
Let me see. They think it biologically affects women because they don't know how science works. And I think I've seen this both from men and women. We tend to try to make the other gender think and behave like we do. Excuse me. So because men, we know we're like, oh my God, if we get cut off from sex, it's like our life is over. So that's a big thing for us. So now we're like, okay, well, if we cut off sex for women, then they'll act like we do. But this is not the case. It's not very thought out.
I'm surprised he didn't say money.
I don't know. My
If
internet.
you really want to get a woman to do something, if you like money over sex every time.
Ooh. They don't want to talk about that though, Hen. They don't want to talk about that.
Come on.
That's some act right. That's some good act right. That's just out.
Yeah.
I ain't saying you should. Now
Okay.
we're on the path of destruction. So this is not what I'm telling people to do. To try to control your woman with money. This is not what I'm recommending. I'm
It's
just
just
saying
no,
that.
not control. Not control. It's a more willing part.
Either way, if you can fill up her coin purse, you'll be all right.
Either way, right?
If you can fill up her pockets, you'll be all right.
You might fare better than trying to
Either
dig
way.
her down.
You can give her a deposit. Either way.
We have a what do you call that? A limited time offer in the chat. He's giving hot B9. Hello B9 is giving hot girl summer discounts on Whole Love only for the months of July and August. Act now, ladies. Better act fast. To be honest, as much as fun sex can be, I'd rather hack or code. What?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I don't know about
Shit.
that.
And I have a bunch of hobbies that, I'm sorry.
I don't
That's
know.
not what my.
I don't know
That's not
about
my
rather
MO.
than. I don't know about rather than. Now, see, there's other things you can do, but rather than.
I'm sorry.
Listen, he
That's
said
just not
he'd
my
rather-
MO. It's a lot of shit I'd rather do all day than lay around and have sex. All day, I'm good.
All day. Oh, that's a bit much.
All day,
It's
I
for
got
Yellow.
shit.
Yellow can have it all day. There you go. Yellow.
I'm not
You can have it all day.
I'm not hearing anything bad
All
though. Like
day?
just saying all day doesn't make it
All
sound
day?
bad. That's still not emphasis.
No, I'm just saying like that's why we different. I'm just thinking like all day, like I'm not trying to do that shit.
I just accept the deal. If you put it in your mouth, I will build you whatever you want.
I mean,
That's
I understand.
a
I
fair
have to
trade,
order.
Fair trade.
I understand.
Not
Wait,
even cackling.
they say
Deep pockets.
Yeah, some of them pockets is deep, some of them pockets is short. You know what I'm saying? They don't need much to fill them up. They can only take a tip.
Oh yeah.
I hate you. I hate you.
I want the ladies, before we move to the main topic, I want the ladies to tell me, because this is somebody I enjoy this lady. She's crazy, but I like her because she says just enough truth that I really can't argue with it. And this is so true but so messed up at the exact same time. What up, Leah? The gang's all here now that you're here. Let's go. We got Team
Hello.
Leah, Bree Leah in the building. But ladies,
Yeah,
I want y'all to
chat
tell
bestie.
me what y'all did. Instant besties too. That was weird.
Sound like somebody hating.
Oh.
Yellow needs to spit on it first like a gentleman.
I cannot confirm nor deny. I cannot confirm nor deny.
Wow. And this is why I prefer money.
Oh, this is my girl right here. This is my girl right here. I've been loving her stuff.
The queen maker. I
go.
like her. I like her. I know she's crazy and she's gonna end up with a cult. I promise you, in about a year's time, she's gonna have a whole cult and it's gonna go down. But because she's a woman, she might not fall for it like men do. Men always fall into the cult. She'll probably be able to withstand that energy and attention. But I want the ladies to tell me what they think about this message.
In a previous video, I stated that women choosing out of the 80% is the wrong choice. He says 80% is the wrong choice? So what would be the right choice then? So let me say it this way. You all say that only 20% of men get 80% of the women, which means that 80% of men are desperately fighting over the remaining 20% of women, which means scarcity. So what happens when people operate in a scarcity mindset? They hoard and possess and they smother. And that's a danger to her life. Choosing out of the 20% is the wrong choice because they have no respect or appreciation for what is abundant to them. Therefore, they change partners like socks, thus giving her no respect. So choosing out of either pool is wrong. So the better choice is women choosing themselves.
I was
She said a whole lot of something, and I couldn't understand. Like, I get it that she's going on into like the percentages and whatever, but like that's not. Is that reality? Because we all like in my community, you know, the numbers aren't always like they have there. Like, so for instance, you know, if you live in Seattle somewhere, the chances of you finding someone compared to if you lived in Vegas or New York, like it's just, we're going on with these numbers as if people are not available. Like there's a lot of, even 20% is still a lot of fucking people. That's still a whole lot of people. That's a lot of people. All you need is just one. So
all you
I
need
don't
is
know.
one candidate, but there's a whole lot of people that can't find that one. I hear that you got that hopeful optimism stuff popping off right now. I can't rock with that. The truth is, most people can't find that one. You might have found
fine. You don't need.
but
That's fine. You got yourself.
I mean, but that's the thing. People are out here looking. People are looking, and they have the numbers. And I know Apex is saying the numbers are way off. We can feel that the numbers are closer to true because that's where this whole withdraw the penis conversation came from. The penis strike comes from the 80% of men who are fighting over the 20% of women. They see their scarcity. They want them to capitulate. They want them to come to the table. They're trying to get somebody to come back to that 80% of men, but there's scarcity. That's what they're saying. I need you to stop acting like you're better than me. But I'm the 80%. I'm the 80% that's undesirable. So I'm with whole penis, and you're going to come to the table as part of the conversation. That is how that fits into this. The other part of that is the manosphere conversation, the 20% of men who have access to 80% of women. But we've had that conversation for the last 3 years. So we know what that's like. Everybody wants that guy to make 6 figures, blah, blah, blah. We know that side. But the guys are still like, well, what can I do to make myself more attractive? And that goes to the yellow saying there's 2 groups of men. There's the 80 and the 20. And we can argue about the number. The number really doesn't matter. 70, 30, 65, 45. It doesn't matter. There is a number that has access, like Yella said, and there's a number that doesn't. Whatever that number is that doesn't is trying to, like Bree said, brainstorm solutions from that place, like Queenmaker said, a place of scarcity, which does influence the way you think. Because of that, we do have to try to figure out, well, is there any validity to what they're asking for?
I think it should work out in the end. I mean, I think that's the struggle. I think let's just say it was 100 people, just so I can keep my percentages clean. I mean, if 80 men were after 20 women, then let's just say 20 out of those 80 men are going to get the last 20, and then that's going to leave 60 men who don't have anybody. But then on the other side, you got those 60 women who were going after them 20 men, and they ain't going to have nobody. So then it's 60-60 left, and so then the leftovers supposed to pick each other.
Hello.
And I feel like that's what usually happens. The leftovers, you see them people who get married when they like 50, that's them. Them 60 people. I think it all works out in the end. Everybody can't get everybody. Okay. And, you know, however long it takes you to realize you the leftovers, the sooner the better.
Dang.
You can humble yourself and pick the person on your level. I think it's better. You be like, damn, I was going after them. These guys, they want these people. And then he like, I be going after these women, but she want these guys. Okay, well, shit, maybe I need to pick somebody on my level. Let's just get together. I feel like that's how it really actually works out, because I don't think 60% of people end up by themselves. People are having kids, get married, pair off, whether they get married or not. I think most people by a certain point, if they really want to be paired off, they'll pair off. It might be late, but I think eventually they find their way.
All right. Through trial and error, most people get there.
Depending on how stubborn and how much pride they got, and like they really can't want to believe they this and ego, however long it take to work through that. But you see them people who finally, if 55, 60, they like, I'm getting married now. Oh, okay. And he be a regular ass nigga. Like, you could have married the same nigga like 20 years ago. But hey, you're here now. So I don't know. I think that's the reality how it works. I got a few aunties who did that. Dated those same men their whole life, and they always feel like they were too good for them. And then like somehow when they're like when they're
one of those people,
yeah, like when they like 55 and stuff, then they suddenly marry the guy who been the same kind of dude they've been dating this whole time, but now they humble.
All right.
I think TJ Randolph speaks to that, right? She says that in her videos a lot.
I haven't watched.
I think she speaks to that. I'm not gonna tell her story because I don't know it as well, but I'm almost certain that she talks about that a little bit, like how when she was younger, she had all these different things that she used to do that wasn't necessarily like good for pair bonding or however people like to phrase it. And as she got older, she dated a truck driver and they're married now. Okay. It's great.
Yeah, as you kept talking, yes, I have heard that story.
Yeah, no issue there.
Yeah, because she's told that story on other platforms. So yeah, I have heard that. Yeah. You are right. I think a generation of men have not learned how to pursue women. I absolutely agree. Rather than trying to sleep with any woman and then calling them hoes when they say no, pick one and put the effort in. Somebody else said, someone in the videos we played it, they called it something else. The availability. I think it was the Tonight guy. I think it was a Conversation Tonight.
And like you got to pick who's interested in you too. I think that's something a lot of people don't like. You need to pick from who's showing interest in you in general. Like we can, especially on the internet, there's all types of people out here in this world that exist, and you can see them on the screen. So they out there somewhere. But who hitting you up in real life?
Right.
That's who you supposed to pick from. That's how it's supposed to work.
Your best option to catch fish is to cast a mini reel. Throw out as many lines as you can. Okay. Get out there. It's a game of odds, okay? You just gotta keep shooting your shot. No matter how many no's you get, just keep shooting your shot. You will find one, maybe two. She might bring a friend, who knows? But I don't know, man. This is why we gotta make life so complicated? Why we gotta go and make it?
Because people not doing nothing. They're just reading and trying to do all the information collecting so they get the best chance of, like it was like when we were talking to Mandrill about streaming. Like people want to gather information as if like all this information you taking in is going to guarantee you any results. No, because if you get up there and you have no fucking charisma and you're weird, it don't matter what you read. You're not going to pull it off. And I think like there's so many like insecure men, especially now, who like they just want to know how to be successful. Well, you're not going to get shit. You need to go out there and like do it. That's the only way. You got to go do it.
Yeah, I got the red. I got the red. I need the success. Let's get it.
And that's the thing. I know because we had somebody say there's a certified dime on the panel, man. Shout out to you, B9, for recognizing, man.
I don't care what your Alpha Male Podcast folks told you.
That certainly is one big self-assured ninja.
Well, Oshawa is a dime.
I Absolutely. B9, let me tell you. You want me to kick some game. This is what I'm going to tell to the fellas that are having problems. The first thing you need to do is quit thinking. Like we told Mandrill, quit thinking. Like Bree said, quit trying to take in all this information. Just get out there. Just get out there. Talk to people. Just get out there and talk to people. You'll learn over time what people respond to. Feel it out. Don't try to figure it out. That's the best way to figure it. I mean, that's the best way to have success is to feel it out. Don't try to figure it out. It's not something that it's not a math problem. It feels like a math problem to us guys, but just don't do that. It don't work. And Mr. He said in the building.
Ooh. What's up, Mr. He should? I think for women also, like, just because you're dating someone doesn't mean that they should like have access to your body. We really got to keep that. Like, dating does not mean, being sexually intimate. So I like what Yella said about like, it's a numbers game. You got to get out there. But when I say get out there, I mean like be involved, have hobbies, do stuff like go bike riding, like just be involved in activities, meet people, right? And don't believe nothing that anyone says. Don't have any expectation that these men have, but watch their ass. Watch them from the follow through if they're consistent. But don't believe shit when they ask you questions about like, oh, what do you like? Don't tell them. Don't tell them. Let them figure it the fuck out.
Right, girl. Like, you on the
Why are you
first
giving
date,
away
giving
the
him
secret?
all the fucking answer keys, bitch.
Exactly. Oh, what kind of guy do you like? So you can go ahead and mask now.
So he can like
do what the
go
fuck I
ahead and
just said.
transform.
No. Just
Shape-shifting
be
ass
yourself so
nigga.
I can see who you really are. Just be yourself so I can see who you really are. And if I like it, then great. Maybe this friendship will develop into something else. But if not, it's okay. We can just be wholesome friends and keep bike riding. It's just not a loss. Like, I don't understand. Like, people get upset about the friend zone, right? But is that really, to have a wholesome friend, is that really a problem? Keep in mind when I say the friend zone, I don't think
it's the
that
same with. No, I was gonna say I think it's the same with men. Like it's like why I say I would never, if I was single and on a panel, I would never date nobody who's saying listen to my ass say what I wanted in a partner all day.
Exactly.
They're gonna come and pretend to be exactly what they know I want to hear. Why the fuck?
Exactly. Oh yeah, I have that.
Yeah,
I do that.
I'm
just
so
like
submissive.
that.
I love to cook for my man. I love to, yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm so wise and like, yeah, conflict resolution. That's so me.
Now I'm gonna tell y'all,
That's the reason why I don't watch.
I do not like that dishonest approach they just gave y'all. But I'll accept it from women because both women said it, so maybe there's a safety security thing there. Listen, if somebody asks me what I like, I'm gonna tell them. But if they always come to me presenting what I like, I'm gonna be suspicious. But no, being dishonest and withholding information because somebody asked you a question, that's dishonest. That's manipulative.
I didn't say you've been too far.
You
You've been too far.
I didn't go too far.
I didn't say be dishonest.
That's being dishonest.
Be dishonest.
That's exactly what you said.
I said you don't have to tell him the answer. You don't have to tell him.
That's dishonest. If I ask you a question and you don't, that's withholding. That's omission. There's a word for it.
Yeah, that's withholding. That's definitely withholding.
Yeah, it's called a lie of omission.
Dishonest.
That lying up by omission is dishonest.
No. We're not talking about my taxes here. We're talking about my interests.
It's definitely deceitful. Yeah, it's definitely deceitful.
No, it's not deceitful.
Yes,
it is. By definition, it's deceitful.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Because now I'm setting up myself in order for you to act a certain kind of way and be someone that you're not, as opposed to just you being who you are.
You setting up yourself to get left on that first date. That's what you setting up yourself for.
I'm married, so I already got the game figured out.
I'm talking about you setting up them. Let's put it like that. You setting up them to get left on the first date.
Thank you, Greg.
No, I'm not. If I'm sitting up talking to you, if I'm sitting up talking to a woman and I'm like, so yeah, what you like to do? What you interested in?
No, I
say nothing.
Keep in mind, that's not what I said.
Hold on.
Answer the question. I didn't say what you like to do. My statement was, what kind of guy do you like? I don't want to answer the question of what kind of guy do you like. If you ask me what I like to do, I got a fuckload of hobbies I keep telling you guys that I love to do. Listen to what I said. So you can please, Yella, feel free to jump in, but just respond to what I said, not what maybe you might have heard. But what I actually
that was my
said,
understanding of what she meant. Like as far as that, like that job interview in line of question that a lot of people bring to first dates, like what kind of man do you like? What do you like for people to do for you? What do you like? That kind of stuff. So it's almost like, how do you want me to show up? And that was my understanding, which is why
Okay, so
I
the
agreed.
idea,
And I think
okay, so the
Why
idea
does
is that that would, so the idea is that that would lead them to become. I get the gist of it.
Yeah, we're
Basically,
all
it's gonna
predators,
have
so we're
them.
going to conform. We're going to
It's going
chameleonize.
right. It's going
We're going to
right.
transform
Basically,
into what they
right,
want.
right. Either way, I take what you're saying. Either way, the idea is still the same. That whatever that person hears, they're gonna basically conform and act in such a way. Because even if I
exactly.
even if I was going even if I was going with my example, if you told me that you liked a certain type of perfume and I just bought you that all the time, that was the first thing I bought you, like the whole flower thing. If you say you like flowers and I get all that, but the thing about it is this: you want somebody to treat you a certain type of way, then say that.
Yeah, I
Like
don't have an issue telling you
at this
that.
point, yeah, because at this point, like I don't know if we advising younger people to do that. Younger people probably do that. I'm not finna sit up here and try to decipher the code on no grown ass woman. I'm gonna need you to tell me what the hell you got going on, because I'm not finna sit up here and waste my time trying to get to breaking down walk. Because this sounds like I gotta break down trauma, and we ain't really
no.
talking about all
It's
that.
a
Yeah,
fear
this.
based. It's a fear
Yeah,
based
right.
programming.
This sounds like I'm breaking through trauma, and I'm going through hoops because now I gotta try to. And I get what you're saying. Be you, but if I'm asking you how you want to be treated, because being me ain't got shit to do with how you want to be treated. Because I can do me and still treat you how you want to be treated.
Absolutely.
I was
Those
gonna
two
say,
things can
well,
both
and they
exist.
asked like, how do you answer the question? Like, I think what Ann is saying, like, you're telling someone exactly what to do. Like, there's a way to just in general, like, if ideas, like, okay, if someone says I'm a traditional type of, like, I'm a like traditional romance or whatever, that's not telling somebody exactly what to do. That's just giving like, okay, well, she might like flowers. She might like if I hold her door. She might like that. That's different from saying like, yeah, my favorite flower is roses, and I like when somebody do exactly this. Like some people want
Exactly.
the exact blueprint to what to do, and if you give them exactly, they're just gonna do that, right? I don't think, but
Exactly.
there's a way to answer and give that information without the specific information. That's what I mean. Like if you just say, "Oh, I'm traditional," for me, I'm like, "Oh, I'm into anime. I'm into this." So like if he wants to go along the lines of like, "Okay, this is what she like," there's still a lot within that you're gonna have to figure out, and it's still gonna give me insight into what kind of gift giver you are, or what kind of person you are, or how you choose to utilize that information can still give me insight to like how you are and how you listen. But if I was like, my favorite anime is this, and I really want this, I like when a man give me this plushie and this, and then you like do exactly that. I don't think you should. I think there's a way to give someone enough information without telling them exactly what to do. And I think some people do want to know exactly what to do.
Okay, but if you're giving them something, then even that's a problem. So if you instead of saying that, okay, no, okay, hold on, Bree, now hold on now, because now we starting to split the atom at this point. Because if you say,
I was
"Oh, I like
answering Danae's
anime,"
question.
All right,
right?
I was
Bernard.
answering her question.
Right, but I'm saying if you like, oh, you can tell him that you like anime, and that's cool. But if he started bringing you anime shit, then that's essentially the same thing as him saying he just ain't bringing you the specific anime that you asked for.
Well, that's what
But
I'm
he was
saying.
just
Like
start
that's, I think that was the whole idea of what Candidan was saying. Like y'all were saying, oh, she's gonna withhold. Like if he's like, okay, what kind of like stuff you like, or what kind of, then if a woman says like I'm traditional, I'm an old school romance type of person, that's not telling you exactly what to do.
I mean, but shit, that's basically
That's
giving
not
you
telling you exactly what to do.
that's basically telling you what textbook to look in though.
Okay, I'm okay
And
with you
that's, I
looking
think
into the
Candidan was
textbook.
saying that that's fine.
Exactly. I'm not saying. So the thing is, like, you guys took it like really literal, as if like
Because that would be
someone
the
asked.
only way. The only way for him to not know what to do is for him to get zero information.
So
That's what
okay,
I'm
so let me
saying.
let me try to contextualize what I'm talking about. Right. What I'm trying to express is that I want you to be Yella. I want you to be Rashawn. I don't want to tell you I like a guy that does, and I'm going to list a bunch of very specific things that to act this way, to drive this thing, to do it like this, and right this way. I'm giving you the opportunity to morph yourself into something that you're not even. Right? Give yourself the opportunity to morph into, because you like me, you're trying to put your best face forward, which is something that we all naturally do to some extent. We all do this. I kind of want you to be yourself, right? And sure, we're going to have conversation like, hey, I like to go to the movies. I'm not going to withhold. I like watching movies. Like, let's go watch a movie together. But like, I'm not about to tell you like, I want a guy that has emotional intelligence and that gives me flowers and that goes to church and blah, blah, blah. This way. If you don't like going to church, I want to know that. I don't want you trying to go just because you think that's what I want in you. I'm trying to find the reason why I'm saying this. I'm trying to find who you really are. And if this is a good match for me, I don't want to get your representative. And that's all I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out who you are authentically so that I can not waste your time and move on to someone that I'm really truly interested in. And within that dynamic, there's still space to have conversation. There's still space to kind of explore things together, to kind of figure things out together. Sure. But I'm not about to tell you like line for line, bullet for bullet, exactly what I like and what it's just like giving people the opportunity to know the cheat code.
Yeah. I think women do that. I think that women do it too. So I don't think that this is gender specific. I think guys are usually more often willing to jump through whatever hoops they have to get some puss a little bit more than women. So I think it happens more with them. But I've seen women do it too. I've seen women say what they know the guy want to hear. So she sounds like the perfect, pick for him. And she ain't that at all. I mean, she might do it at first, but then, after a couple months, she fall off. And that's usually means you got a representative based off some information that they heard from you that they kind of took on and pretended, to do for a time. But people can't keep that up. So it's just a waste of time, ultimately.
Like, exactly. Like work, let's take going to the gym, for instance. If I say I like someone that's fit and that goes to the gym, I don't want you like all of a sudden run to the fucking gym, even though you hate that shit, knowing good and goddamn well that later on down the line, you're like, I ain't going to the fucking gym, but you know it's something that I like, so you do it for me for a couple of months. Like, I just want you to be yourself. That's it.
I hear everything.
Marshawn's having a visceral reaction. He's like, "No, you lying.
I
you lying, girl."
I hear everything y'all saying. I hear everything y'all saying, but the issue is, and this is one of the issues, I really don't get into this too often because this is one of the issues I have with women. They do not want to admit that the truth of what they're doing because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to admit to, I'm manipulating you to prevent you from manipulating me. That's okay. It's what you have. I started this by saying women, there's a different level of safety with women. I'm willing to accept without a moral judgment that because of the fear for safety that you may have to operate in this world differently than I do. You can't be as direct because of some vulnerability that you women who understand being a woman, you understand that your vulnerability within yourself is that I can't, somebody gives me flowers and then they do this and they do this on the third date because I have a script. If they do these things and hit these buttons in this order, I'm automatically just dropping my panties or falling in love. If that's a vulnerability in y'all, cool. We can just say that. And we can say that.
Yeah, I can say, listen, I'm always manipulating.
There we go.
Yeah, I like, so the fact that you derive that, like, there's no hidden agenda here. I'm fucking candid and so yeah, I'm manipulating every fucking thing. I'm to my advantage, right? Not in a conniving manner, not to fuck somebody over, but I'm trying to figure out, just like everybody, like this is survival of the fittest. Like, we're all doing this to some extent. I'm trying to, when I go to work, I'm going to put a certain hat on. I'm manipulating the situation to come out with a positive result. I'm always going to manipulate the situation. And when I say manipulate, like I said, I want to say this over and over. It's not in a conniving manner to fuck somebody over, but it's just so that I get the most positive result. So yeah, I don't have an issue saying that. For me, I don't got an issue saying that. I'm a woman. I'm fucking small. I'm a black woman. People don't care about my feelings. People don't care about, like, if I get hurt, I'm not gonna be on the front page of anybody's news. Yes, I'm gonna manipulate the situation to make sure that I'm safe, to make sure that I'm loved, to make sure that I'm respected, to make sure this guy's actually really a gentleman. It's not gonna kill me. Yeah, I'm gonna manipulate as much as fucking possible to make sure that I'm alive. I don't have an issue with saying that I'm gonna manipulate. No problem there. I don't know if most people have a problem saying that, but me, I don't.
Yeah, and that was the entire thing, Apex. Yes, everyone manipulates, but when we were saying like, no, this is deceitful, everybody like, no, but it is. It's a manipulation. And but again, Kenzan just admitted that, so we cool. That's all. That's my only thing is a lot of times in this conversation we have a hard time admitting what our behavior actually is because of how the intent versus the impact. I don't intend, like you said, the connotation, or I'm not intending to connive anybody. That's not the intention, but the impact of what I'm doing is withholding information, the lie by omission, to protect myself. So that's why, Apex, you also said earlier, it feels like we're having two conversations, but the same conversation. That's why. One's lane is the intent, one lane is the impact, and we're trying to bring it together, which I believe we just did.
Look at us making progress. Ooh.
I don't, but I'm kind of autistic. Greg Bryant, see, even in that, like, honestly, Greg, okay, just using that as an example. I don't, but I'm kind of autistic. Even that's manipulation. Because even the ad that you're kind of autistic is a bit of information that we didn't need. But even saying you don't I'm saying I don't. You're trying to convince us that you don't manipulate. So that's manipulation, trying to tell us that you don't manipulate. Because we would have known that if you didn't really manipulate, you wouldn't have to tell us. Then you say, I'm kind of autistic, which gives a qualifier to why you don't. Because my brain isn't even set up to manipulate. But that sentence is manipulative. It's going to confer that you don't do something, which is to manipulate somebody into believing that you don't. And whether we we might have evidence or not that you do or not. I don't care what anybody else does, which is also manipulation. And like, that's the thing about manipulation. It's just to subtle changes in somebody's thoughts or feelings or behavior. And saying like, I don't care. That's another manipulation. Because if you don't care, you don't say it. But I know people care when they say I don't care.
I care.
What's
That's
up, Mrs.
why.
She said?
Ooh, what's up? I have no problem. That's why we paint our nails. That's why we take showers. That's why we like wear certain clothes. That's why, like, even the conversation in the beginning, he was talking about withholding the pain to get women to act right. Is that not also manipulation?
Everything is. Yeah, almost everything. Almost everything's a manipulation. It's baked into how we operate. But people don't. There's connotations to it that people don't like to accept because it feels icky. It feels mean-spirited. It feels devious. But it's how we operate. It is how we move. But let us move towards the main conversation. Ladies and gentlemen. No, I mean, I really don't care. I'm just being honest. Now, listen. We're about to move to the main conversation. Now, today's conversation, we started a couple Thursdays ago talking about solutions. And we played a video. We played a video about Black women in Chicago. So that is going to lead us into this conversation. I have a video here. I want to say about 4 minutes. I'm going to play that. Candidan got me on a new video system. So I was playing in that earlier. So thank you, Candidan, to get me. What is that? Essentials? I can't even remember the name of it.
You like it?
Adobe Premiere Elements. I do because it's like my phone. Now, it kept shutting down my computer earlier. So I don't know what it is.
Ooh.
But it's something I don't know. But I'm going to figure it out.
Okay. Cool.
Wait, this wasn't the main topic? No, that wasn't the main topic. That was just to get us. That was just to get us. Just to get us going.
It's about
but
to
a couple
go.
Thursdays ago, we started talking about the safety of Black women. Now, on Brother Clarence's panel, that got interpreted somehow as how we deal with sexual offenders, but that was not the bulk of it. It was about women, Black women specifically, as the victims of crime. Extrapolating out from Chicago, because the video was about Chicago. They represent 25% of all crime victims of every statistical realm, even though they're only 16% of the population. That's the jumping off point for the last couple of Thursdays, the SWOT analysis. And that's going to take us into what we're getting ready to talk about today, the safety of women and a particular incident that happened about a week ago that's kind of blowing up online. If I had to manipulate people to be more amusing, I probably would, but they do a great job on their own. Facts. Let me bring in this video.
We are embarking on a journey investigating injustice in Chicago. The goal is to make the city safer for everyone, but especially for those most impacted by crime.
CBS 2 investigator Dorothy Tucker spotlights a troubling pattern that's been ignored for years, and Dorothy joins us now live.
Well, Jim and Marie, we uncovered some unique facts and figures that...
Let me pause real quick. let me pause real quick. Trigger warning. There is going to be a clip of violence against women in this. I stitched some stuff together. There will be a clip of violence against women, and I believe a piece of I'll say a shooting. You won't see the shooting, but I do believe it gets heard in the clip. So trigger warning to anybody that has heightened sensitivities. And if you know me, I have a high degree of insensitivity to serious things. So I do kind of make light of deadly situations. So if you have one of those, one of those moral clauses where somebody, makes jokes about dead people, like the submarine thing, I've been laughing about that for the last couple of days. If you're one of those people that's super sensitive about that, you might want to step out, because I'm going to make fun of this guy because he's an idiot and I don't care. Just wanted to let y'all know, trigger warning. I'm going to go back to the video. What's up, Ty Libra in the building? Let me see.
Revealed for the first time the truth about who criminals are really targeting. It's people who look like me. Our investigation exposes the causes and consequences of Black women at risk.
And a disturbing case unfolds in court. A mother accused of ordering her son to commit murder in a West Pullman restaurant. The mother and son are now charged, both of them. Elizabeth Matthews joins us now with more on this developing story. Elizabeth?
Yeah, Natalie, that mom who's accused of giving those shoot-to-kill orders is now being held on $3 million bail. Parts of that shooting were actually captured on this restaurant's surveillance video, which helped the witnesses identify the suspects to police. So this all happened Sunday night, police tell us, just after 11 o'clock, about 11:05 p.m. 35-year-old Carlisha Hood and her 14-year-old son arrived at the Maxwell Street restaurant on South Halstead at 117th. Hood went in for food. Her son waited in the car. Prosecutors say that's when she began arguing with this man, 32-year-old Jeremy Brown, who was also inside ordering food at the time. Hood began texting her son, who appeared in the doorway, hands in his pockets. A fight became physical between Hood and the victim. The victim was able to punch the woman once.
Get your food! Who? Get in the car? Who? Nay. Get your food! Get your food! If you say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out. Oh my grandma, say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out.
Talking about what?
Say one more thing, I'm gonna knock you out.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Shameful shit.
That's when prosecutors say the boy pulled out a gun, fired a single shot to the victim's back, followed him outside, kept firing, striking him fatally twice in the back.
Once outside of the restaurant, while the co-defendant was still shooting at the victim, the defendant instructed her son, the co-defendant, to continue to shoot and kill the victim. Once the co-defendant finished shooting the victim, the defendant turned her focus towards witness one. She began pointing at witness one and instructing her son to shoot her.
Prosecutors say the Hood even tried to get the gun from her son, but he pushed her away. No shots were fired at that witness, who is also the victim's girlfriend. Both mother and son facing murder charges. She's also charged with contributing to the delinquency of a minor. The teen boy also facing unlawful use and possession of a firearm. Both, we're told, did surrender themselves to police yesterday. We're also told that Hood, the woman charged in this, the mom charged in this, also had a FOID card herself and was licensed to conceal carry. Reporting live, Elizabeth Matthews, Fox 32, Chicago.
I mean, this is some shameful shit.
And more breaking news, the Cook County State's attorneys dropping charges against Carlisha Hood and her 14-year-old son. You remember Hood was accused of encouraging her son to shoot a man, but video that recently surfaced shows Jeremy Brown yelling and attacking Hood inside a Southside restaurant. Before the shooting, activists had argued that the actions were self-defense.
Case closed.
Man, shout out to the news dropping all the info. Definitely, man. Case closed.
Damn, I wish Yellow was still here, because this is happening in Chicago, and he's from Chicago, so I kind of wanted to get a little bit of his perspective.
Yes. So to me, I'm gonna say thankfully that the young man and the mother were released. There was obviously a lot of commentary on all different angles of this, But I do want to know what you ladies thought of it before we found out that they dropped the charges. Because I know Conscious was doing a panel yesterday, and it's probably come up on a few different places. What were your initial perspectives, and how did it change and morph as more information or video came out?
Candy Dan, go first. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. So for me, there's fault all around. There's so whatever anyone says on here, I'm probably going to agree that that could have been a way to de-escalate. It could have, like, this person could have, don't hit her. I completely agree. Like, the woman has the right to say whatever she wants to say, and he has no right at all to hit her and talk about, I'm gonna knock you out. You don't know who she is and who you to decide, like, you talk one more time, I'm gonna knock you out. Like, so whatever anyone says, I'm probably gonna agree with you. But for me as a woman, putting myself in that situation, if I was Mrs. Hood and I have this deranged man screaming at me, yelling at me, I know I'm in the hood. I know that these people, I know as a Black woman how I'm treated, how people don't give a shit about me, how Black men are probably the ones in my vicinity that's most likely to cause me harm, right? I'm going to de-escalate. I'm going to get the fuck out of there. I'm going to leave. Now, should I have to leave? No. But I'm going to, because I'm smart enough to realize it's not worth it. Over, what was it, hot dogs, tacos? What was it inside there?
Yeah, it was a hot dog place. That's crazy.
Over hot dogs, bro? Like, all of this. And I would, like, I don't have kids, but I would never call my son, even if they get away with it, I would never want that on my child's conscience, that he took someone's life. I would never put my kid in that position. I would never, knowing that I got precious cargo, which is my offspring, my son, in the car. Why am I even texting him? I would just go into the car and say, you know what? I don't even feel like eating hot dogs anymore. Let's go to someplace else and de-escalate. So there's fault all over the place. Another, as a gun owner myself, with a concealed carry license, a Black woman, with a concealed weapon myself, I would definitely de-escalate. That's my firearm. The kid does not have the right to that firearm. She's the one that has the license, not the kid. No, I understand. I feel bad for the kid because he's under the direction of his mom. And what 14-year-old kid is going to see his mom being violated in this way and is not going to respond? So my heart goes out to him. But as a woman that has a gun also, I would get out of there. I would get out of there because it's just not worth it. When you go through licensing to get a permit to carry, you don't do so. The first thing they want to tell you is in every aspect you want to de-escalate. You're either shooting to kill because your life or someone else's life is in grave danger. Right? This is not an ego thing. Is there any opportunity which you could have walked away? And I mean, there's fault on everyone's side. Like the little boy, I mean, he's 14 years old. He could have said, hell no, I'm not doing that. No, mom, no. Why would you put your kid in this position? And that grown man, who do you think you are to walk up to a stranger and think that you can, that women ain't fighting out, that women are not gonna protect themselves? So there's a lot of fault to go around here. And for me, like I said, my main thing is, as a woman, it's just when I look at the situation, I would just walk away, because hot dogs and what she was getting is just not worth putting my kid under that kind of, like, who wants to live with that trauma, knowing that you took a life? Even if they get away with it, even if everything, they're cleared of all charges, he's 14, he took someone's life. I would never put my kid or anyone that I love, any man that I love, in that situation.
I definitely agree with you for the most part. Now, there is a lot of fault to go around. I'm not sure if Bree is back or not.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You want to go ahead and jump in? You can go ahead.
I was gonna say, well, I was wondering if do we know what she said? Like, did she say, hey, I'm this guy acting crazy? Did she say, bring me my gun? Like, I'm just curious if we don't know what she said to him exactly.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about the text specifically yet. I was going to because
Okay.
I haven't heard
Because I'm
about
just
the
wondering if she was just
specifics.
kind of like this man in here acting crazy. Because by the time the son walked in, like it was almost like had already escalated. So I'm just wondering, like, we don't really know. She might have just said, "Hey, this man here acting crazy," like, or bring me my gun, which is out of pocket. Like, nah, I'm not gonna have my kid bring me my gun. But maybe it was simply that, because I think they said later she was trying to wrestle the gun from him, her son, and he like pushed her off. So I don't think she ever possibly intended for the kid to come in and be like, I think she just like, bring me my gun, because it's getting crazy in here. So I'm thinking that maybe she would have said that. I'm thinking, but that's still out of pocket. But that me seem to make a little bit more sense. But I'm impressed that the kid, like he must be shooting. He must be at the gun range, because he was shooting in a place. You heard him. He got 2 hits in, and then I just heard the gunshot. So I don't know. I don't know what their life is like outside of this, but clearly it seems like a high stress, violent environment that they are used to being in. Because I have 13-year-old. If I was like, bring my gun out the car, she panicking. Okay. She is not built. Like, she is not, she would be traumatized from the thought alone that somebody was yelling at me at a hot dog stand. So I don't know what kind of life these two have lived outside of this, but that kid clearly seemed like he was ready to get the strap in, and him and his mama. But I'm glad the charges were dropped.
Yeah, I am too. I'm gonna say, for me, what's up in the air are the text messages, because during that video, you could hear her say, "Go back to the car." She said to him at one point, "Go back to the car," and the guy that punched her mocked her, like, "Go back to the car." Something he said something like right after she said it, "Go back to the car." So she actually tried to send the kid away, which would be weird if she's telling him to come, like, bring the gun, or so that'd be kind of weird. Right before
he
she
might have
actually
heard
got
the
hit.
yelling or something. Like, I'm thinking, did he hear the yelling from outside and just like, what's going on in here? Let me come. And she kind of knew, like, I don't know.
And they might have assumed when she was texting the boy because he came soon, because she might have actually texted him about the food order. Because, like, for them to not just walk in and grab the food, maybe she's like, "But did you want something else, or did you what?" Like, there might have been a text exchange about the food that whoever the witness was that tried to say what was happening, they might have said, "Well, they sent for the boy because the boy came in not too long after." I
More
believe it's probably
information
some
came
assumptions.
out. I think that painted a different picture now. Yeah, I think her saying, shoot the girlfriend after and all that stuff, like, she was all hype, and that's crazy. But the fact that the son had the restraint not to do it, clearly he just, mom said shoot, I shoot, because he didn't shoot the girlfriend.
Right.
So
That's what makes me. I would love to. I think you brought up a good point about the text messages. I would love to see what they said, because who the hell does she think that she is, that she can decide to tell her son to be an assassin for anyone that's laughing at her, because her ego needs to be so protected that she's gonna have her son like a fucking wild dog and just assassin whoever laughed at her during that situation. Like, what kind of, like, if that's, I don't know if that's necessarily what happened, but if that is what happened, that's disgraceful.
Yeah. And then there was another video. Sabri's pointed. Yeah, which is crazy. When he first got in the door, there's another video that longer when it showed him fumbling in the doorway. He was actually, when he tried to pull the gun out, he actually was fumbling with it in his jacket for a minute. And I was like, oh shoot, he ain't even used to handling it. And I guess the guy after the first shot, he actually got out of the store. That's when he chased him down and shot him in the back. But it was an interesting whole dynamic. The entire thing was interesting. But I wanted to just separate out, because a couple of people brought up the topic point, like you guys mentioned, using the kid as a weapon, the human weapon, to protect your mother, protect Black women type thing, because that's strange to me. I've had so many people talking, like I've heard Black people saying he should not have been in that position, but then we're also saying that the Black women are unprotected, Black women are the victims of these crimes. Why would you not have wanted a young man to step up if there's nobody else there that did? Because just to show y'all the video real quick. Whoa, real quick. Oh shoot, not that part. I was trying to pause
for everyone.
Shoot. I wanted y'all to see everybody that was in front of that camera. There's him, the person recording. There's the person right in front of him. You have the people in the restaurant. There's a guy in front of this guy in the black shirt. He's older. but he's behind a woman. So I'm assuming that the person holding the camera might be, only because of the height and they're hitting this guy's shoulder, it might be a woman, but I thought I heard a guy's voice. So you have at least 3 guys behind this woman. 2 guys were in that window working. So that's at least 5 guys, and none of them are de-escalating the situation. The only person who stepped in was the son. Now, again, I know he didn't have a right to have a gun or to use a gun based on, but again, rights in a situation like that, ain't nobody gonna really worry about that. What do y'all think about the human weapon aspect of it, as far as like protecting women, protecting Black women, and men stepping up? Because again, I would want that child to grow into a man that does the exact same thing, to step up for his mother.
I mean, it feels like a case of a son husband though, and I feel like unfortunately for this boy, he's probably going to go through a lot more years of having to fix his mom's issues that she bring on. She clearly has no emotional restraint. She don't know when to chill. She don't know when to stop. The son seemed like they already have some sort of dynamic where he's like telling you can't shoot other people just because he didn't give her the gun because she wanted to shoot the girlfriend. He only shot the shot needed to stop the attack, and no, or well, I guess he went after too, but it's still like, it seems like they have some dynamic where she shows no restraint. She could have just walked away. That's not an option, so she, unfortunately for this young man, he's gonna have, and he's probably gonna pick a woman or a mate who's gonna be the same way. He probably gonna pick because that's what he's gonna be used to. So it seems like there's, unfortunately, this dynamic where it's probably a son husband dynamic. He has to shoulder more emotional burden than he should be as a 14-year-old child because his mama don't know when to sit the fuck down.
So let me ask you a question. Where did you like, because you and your counterpart, she got that vibe too. What in this whole dynamic gave you the son husband? There was a food run.
The fact that, right, but the fact the son already had the gun. Like, there's just like, as a parent, there's just some, when you're looking at someone's behavior in one situation, I don't look at it as in this is a vacuum. Yes, he fumbled getting the gun out of the hoodie, but there, like I said, my little sheltered little kids, my little sheltered, fragile, high maintenance princess kids, first of all, probably wouldn't even got out the car, or if they would be nervous. It just, he was very calm. He seemed like he kind of knew what to do. He, and it was just like, and to the point where he didn't shoot, or it's just the dynamic. He's not an adult, and he's expected to do the job of an adult in this situation.
Exactly.
And as a parent, like, my kids are not an option for me ever. And like, even if my son got out the car and saw something and decided he was going to take matters into his own hands, as soon as my son would have done that, whatever I had going on would have instantly just shut off.
Exactly.
Like, however I felt about it would have just instantly been like, fuck all these people. Like, okay, the person who hit me in the head down, I'm definitely not about to go try to find other people to fight and shoot at. Like, I would just instantly shut down. In that moment, I just saw my baby shoot somebody. So, like, I'm going to be trying to take the gun out of their hand. I'm going to be trying to, like, oh my gosh, like, the fact that she just, even that alone did not make her just be like, you trying to go find more people to shoot. It's just something about that dynamic that it's like your son shooting another human being didn't even, like, you kind of put this adult responsibility on him, because him doing this very adult thing didn't even snap you out of whatever you had going on, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I know I have a different take on that, and it's probably just because the environment I have been in, I don't see necessarily son husband on that, but it's very hood. It's a very hood dynamic. But
it's hood, but a lot of hood moms have a son husband dynamic with their sons. These women who are in these situations where they don't have a man around, a lot of these sons shoulder the burden of feeling like they have to be the protectors of the house.
Yep.
They have to look out for their mom. They have to provide. They got to protect their mom, and that is not their job.
Mm-hmm.
I get what you're saying, but a son husband, for me, that term is like loaded for me. It means something very specific. The son husband means like a very unhealthy like attachment as well when I hear the son husband. But as far as like children that have to like step into like parental or adult roles, like I just, again, it's a thing for me, the son husband thing.
But did
But
he
I hear
have to
what you're
step into that role, or Rashawn? Do you think he had to step into that role if she would have shut the fuck up?
absolutely.
If she would have kept
No,
her
she would have
mom
just walked
hat
away.
on and continued being a
We don't
parent,
know
and
that was an option. We don't know that walking away was an option. I've been in the hood. Sometimes walking away is not an option. Once somebody gets amped up
Sometimes,
and they're
but
in
she
your ear,
definitely. But she definitely didn't. We didn't get to see that, right? Because for me, if you say if you say one more thing, I'm going to hit you. You ain't got to worry about me because I ain't gonna say nothing else. I'm gonna get the fuck on. That's it.
So am I.
So I'm just saying, like, we also saw her have the warning that this other person is obviously crazy, off balance, emotionally also unregulated. He is at his limit. He's giving you a warning. Not that makes it okay. He's telling you the next time you say, I'm going to hit you, and you have no reason to believe he ain't finna do that shit. I mean, I'm gonna walk away. It ain't that serious. Now, if he come after me when I walk away,
that's a different story.
We got another
Exactly.
problem. But
I understand y'all's perspective. It is the places I've been around. You couldn't just, and this is not every single time. Not every single time there was beef, you couldn't walk away. A lot of times you could walk away, but you still go back to those same spaces. You go back to those same hot dog stands. You go back to the same restaurants. These people see you again. You become somebody that can be picked upon every time they see you, and you can't just go out and be around people, because if you see these people, now you got to shuffle off, or you can't go to this place. There is a dynamic where if you don't stand up for yourself, people will keep knocking you down. So I've seen that, I've lived that. That's a problem. Now, as far as the guys, once that guy elevated, I don't trust anybody. Once they elevate and he's threatening and hitting you, and my assumption is he's planning to hit you anyway. He's not about to just calm down as soon as you say okay and grab your food and leave. He's not about to just go back to level 0. That's not the way that works in real life.
Yeah, you have to remove yourself from the situation for sure. I mean, when we learn de-escalation, I think that's part of it. It's not, if you don't turn your back and think you're safe, you safely exit the room, you don't let people corner you. I mean, she dropped the ball as far as de-escalation technique, period. She wasn't trying to de-escalate, because when you're in a de-escalation place, there's a whole different way you would move. I wouldn't be in the corner. I wouldn't be in the arm's length. I would know where my exit is, and I would be moving towards it while still keeping my eyes on you. She clearly was not in a space where she was trying to de-escalate or get away from the situation. And I think a lot of what you're talking about is just the reality of living in extremely violent and unsafe environments, which puts everybody in survival mode. And these kids who grow up in these environments have to grow up faster. And so I'm not saying that her 14-year-old can, like Greg said, I could protect my family at 14. That's probably true. I'm not saying that. 14-year-old, we seen Yellow Ass at 12. That nigga was beat. Okay. I'm not saying it's not in their capacity. Yeah. I'm saying that if you were in a safe environment and weren't growing up in a violent environment, these things wouldn't even be expected of you at 14. Okay.
So let's test that, because again, there are environments, like Greg is saying, there are environments where 14 years old, they're in the wilderness with their families. You do have to protect your family.
That's a violent.
Yeah, so
environment.
So we can accept that as that's what it is. Like that's what it is. It's a violent environment. Right. So at 14, that's a condition that a 14-year-old does have to protect his family.
With no man around, especially. Yeah.
And so that's what I mean. There were men around. There was no father.
No, I mean,
around,
like in the house.
There were men
like in the house.
In the house, yeah.
But like I don't have that belief that all men have a burden to protect me. Like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that just because I'm outside. I just never believe that some man's gonna come help me. I don't have that. That's not how I roll. So it's like, no, she doesn't have her own man in her house. That is his burden that he takes on as her man. So that's why I say it's a son-husband dynamic in that way. These sons are taking on what the man you usually would be with, or whoever decides we gonna take on, at least in heteronormative relationships, right? Like the man takes that as his job.
Yeah.
Yeah, the man of the house. So these these boys are having to take on that burden sooner than they probably would. Now, of course, like my brothers, both of my brothers are married and they have sons. Like, obviously they would not, if for whatever reason their mom was caught outside and it was just the sons, of course they would hope that they raise the type of sons that would help their mother if she were to be caught out there without him around. But the way I see them move as well, there's not often a situation like in my situation, my sister-in-law wouldn't even be out there late going to get food. Like my
Yeah, I didn't
sister
even catch
would
the
like,
time.
yeah, like
I know
my
Apex said it
brother
was
be
after
like,
11.
yeah, you're not gonna go out here at 11 fucking talking about you going to this hot dog stand in the hood like by yourself. Like, I'm coming with you, or I'm gonna go myself. So I just think people who don't have that option and don't, you know what I mean? Like, of course, what else she gonna do? But like, we have to realize it's still not, the environment is breeding this, like, you have to rise up to this role, fill this role. If you weren't in that environment, that wouldn't be asked of you this early.
I get what you're saying. If you weren't in that environment, it wouldn't be asked of you, but they are in that environment. And even if it wasn't, even if it wasn't a son, if they had a daughter, the daughter probably would have been like, "Mom, I want to be out there with you. Just I don't want you out there by yourself." Parents go out there with their, like, that's my issue is people tend to protect their tribe. They want to protect their village. That is independent of the son husband dynamic. That's my pushback with that language is people want to protect the people they love, independent of the son husband dynamic. So that's my pushback on that. But I'll let that.
What's the son husband dynamic to you though? Like, because I guess that's what I'm like. Yeah.
The son husband dynamic is when the mother and the son have an unhealthy attachment in the absence of the husband role. The son takes on those roles, but it's in an unhealthy capacity. There's an unhealthy attachment there where they can't let go of each other. When they become older, it becomes like the mama's boys that are always running back to their mother, or the mother is always in their son's relationships. So it becomes unhealthy and they cannot maintain any other relationships romantically because of the bond between those two.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. For me, I was thinking, I mean, that definitely can exist. But for me, what I thought Bree was saying and what I also kind of agree, I kind of agree with you both a little bit. But I think what she was basically trying to say was the responsibilities of a husband, the protection, the providing, and that. So it's not really about the relationship more so than the responsibilities.
And the only reason I was saying that I would think that that's possibly going, I can't. This is one situation. It's an extreme situation. But like I said, I think if she and him didn't have this kind of dynamic where this was something that even in smaller ways, this is something he deals with, is because when your son shot somebody, you did not snap out of whatever the fuck you had going on emotionally to check on him, to you know, just attend to him as a child who just shot a grown man. So that's the only reason that I'm like, this is a dynamic that this son has had to kind of live through. His mom is off the chain. His mom's emotionally unregulated, and he's taking on that role that a lot of male partners say they have to do. She don't do this. I gotta bring her down. I gotta do this. I always gotta. That should never be a child's responsibility.
I think it's
so
interesting
that's
also
what I was talking about.
how all the wives, Mrs. She said, Bree, myself, all the married women are like, shut your mouth and walk away. Every last, you know what I'm saying? All of us are in agreement, you know. And look, we don't know if it was an option, if he would have still came after her, but we know she didn't exercise that option, so we can't say that it would not have worked.
Right. Yeah, she didn't protect him. She didn't protect him. If you would have got rocked and killed, your son would have been out there by himself at whatever time at night with you down. Now he got to take you to the hospital. Now, if you a single parent, who gonna go to work? Who gonna pay the bills? Like, you ain't think about none of that. You was just so determined to have this argument with this crazy ass man who telling you he finna knock you the fuck out. So you ain't took on the role of protector either, even though you the only parent in the house. Somebody got to pick it up.
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of responsibility, no matter who I look at, I think there's wrong everywhere. Our egos, our communication, like why are we, like who knows even what the argument started? Like why are we even arguing with strangers in a fucking hot dog stand? Like there's so many layers of like, could have did this, could have that. Like even the men inside there, I know, I'm not sure if you were like going to talk on this, Rashawn. You were saying like there are like at least 2 or 3 men possibly in that didn't speak up for the woman, right? Now I'm from the Bronx and I'm not, New York state of mind, you mind your business because that's how you get killed. So I never get upset when I see men, like people like there are men over there and they didn't do anything. That's disgraceful. I don't put that. I don't like, it's definitely like I admire if a man is able to see a woman in distress and he's able to help, then I'm like, oh my God, that's wonderful. But I don't look down on those that's like, look, I got kids. I can't put myself in any kind of situation. I'm walking out of here. I'm getting out of here. Like, I don't look down on any man that's like, I got my own kids. I got 4 kids. I'm the sole provider. I don't know what these people have going on out here. You know what I'm saying? So I don't look down on any other man that you got this situation that you're unwilling to get involved in. Like, I just don't look down on men for not, picking up arms for these random women out here, whether she's at fault or not at fault. I don't do that at all.
I hear you. As far as what's really boots on the ground right now, I understand. Because I wouldn't want to throw myself out there for a situation I didn't understand. I don't know what happened. I'm just trying to get my chicken or my hot dogs. I'm trying to get my 3 all beef. I'm trying to get something. I just want to get that and go home and watch this show or this game. I get that. But we also spend a lot of time, like we were talking about the solutions for this. If there is going to be no expectation or even thought that other people are going to involve themselves in the lives of others, then there are no solutions because the government's not going to do it. So if there's not going to be a place where we start considering self-governance and governance like within our groups, then we're just waiting for stuff. I don't know. I don't know that.
I hear you that it does sound
counterproductive. She needs some
self-regulation.
She need to check herself.
Right.
Self-regulation.
She does.
You
but
need,
once that happens,
you need to have that in your purse, ma'am. If you want to carry for your protection, you need to have it on your person. Okay?
All the time.
Because if you would have had it on your person, then you be the one shooting the man, not your son.
Exactly. And that is so perfect because to be honest with you, I don't know what she's in, I don't know what the laws are like in Chicago, but here in Connecticut, when I went through training for a firearm, it's concealed and you're supposed to have it not in your purse, but on your person at all times. So if he hit me the way that he struck me the 2 or 3 times, as big as he is, then my life is in bodily harm, grave bodily harm. And I shot, it would have been a close. We wouldn't be here discussing the sun and this and what's the text messages about and it would be like it would be a real simple kind of like self-defense situation, right? It was her gun. She used it. She defended herself. Even though she could have still hopefully de-escalated, that's always on the table, but he hit her. And once he did, because he doesn't have a right to hit her, he got no right to put his hands on anyone, period, no matter what she's saying. I also find fault there as well, but yeah, I totally agree with you there, Bree.
Yeah. And I'm with Greg Brian. Civilization requires normal men to enforce the rules.
What?
If we're going to have that thing where like nobody has a responsibility to stand up or do anything, then now it does put a responsibility on the son. It throws it on the family. She has a responsibility for herself, but then it makes
she didn't rise to.
Yeah, she didn't rise to her personal standard, but then he does have a responsibility to take care of his mother. Because if society doesn't have a responsibility, then your family has to. Somebody has to have a decision of being.
I disagree.
So who would
a 14-year-old kid.
Who would do it?
So why not just call the fucking police? Why not the store owners? If
she'd be dead. She'd be dead by the time they got there.
I disagree.
No, he didn't kill her. He didn't kill her. For me, I don't know. I feel like young Black boys, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm willing to be wrong. But like, I just feel like I need to be protected. And there's no situation that to me, my young boy, my young kid, my young girl, that is precious cargo. So I'm not risking that. I'm just not risking that. So if she took the punch, fell the fuck out, and did a fucking police report afterwards, the son is still not involved. He doesn't have to have that weight. He might be angry. He might be this. But everybody lives. Everybody lives.
We don't know that.
I want to say I agree.
Chicago.
I want to say I agree.
Right.
I don't agree that. I don't think that she, as a mom, right? As a mom, like, yeah, we could talk about worst case scenario, like the things how we don't want, like it doesn't work out the way we want it to. It don't work out the way we want it to. But most parents would not say that I'm going to put the responsibility on you to protect me. So like the whole thing is the reason that the son was even put in that position is because she failed to do her responsibility. She failed to handle her part of the burden, and that's where the failure is. So then you offloaded it to somebody. Now, like, who it should be offloaded to is basically where this conversation is. Like, so if someone relinquishes their personal responsibility, in the matter who has to pick it up, and that's my whole thing. I don't think nobody got to pick that shit up. Like, my husband, if he's sitting there looking at you, running your mouth and choosing not to de-escalate, it's not his responsibility to pick that shit up for you. And I still don't think it's your son's responsibility to pick that up for you. Will he, because of his emotional attachment to you, probably, and as a male, feel like I got to do something? Yeah. But I don't think that's his responsibility.
Like, so everybody in this place, including her son, should watch her get beat down.
Listen.
And hope he stops. And hope he stops.
Maybe try to break it up. Maybe try to.
I don't know whether, Rasha, I don't have the perfect answer for this violent situation, right? So like, for me, it's easy to point out what could have not happened, right? I don't have the right answer. So I'm gonna sit here and be like, oh, I don't know if he would have stopped punching her. I know she took 2 or 3 punches and had enough to go to the parking lot and try to tell him, hit some more people. So the punch, even though it was terrible, it didn't knock her on her ass. Like, it didn't make her unconscious. She took the punch and was still able to.
Because her son shot.
He shot after the second one.
He interrupted the barrage of punches where this guy kept steadying himself and punching. We know we have no idea how far he was going to carry.
He shot him after 2? Okay.
In the video, I saw bang, bang, and then you hear the shot. I mean, they said 3 times. So, like, I'm not even here to argue. Like, I think the son did what he felt like he had to do. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not even holding the son. I think the son did what I think any male would do. Yes. Like, he's 14, but he big. I think he did what any man would do. But for me, I'm not gonna say like that's the standard. I think the mom dropped her responsibility, and what I would tell my daughters or any woman, if you absolve yourself of the responsibility to protect yourself, you've already fucked up, because now you either have to depend on some random stranger who you don't know what code they run on to come step in, or your child will have to now pick that responsibility up in their child. And I think children should be protected at all costs. So that's where it is for me. That's the standard. You don't absolve yourself because you're going to offload it to somebody and you don't know what you're offloading to them. That's just where it stands for me.
I hear y'all. Yeah, we're just that's just something we gonna disagree on, because as a guy, I'm gonna say as a guy, I'm gonna pull a guy card. I don't want him completely protected, because life is going to happen. Somebody's going to make a bonehead decision in life. Somebody's going to say something stupid. It's not going to be her all the time. It's going to be a friend. It's going to be a cousin. This is real life. Somebody in Chicago is going to do something, and it's going to be somebody he cares about, and it's going to be in proximity to danger. And I like to think that we're grooming our boys, even if we're not grooming the women, if we're grooming the women to walk away from everything, every conflict. Okay, cool. That's y'all's business. I can't tell y'all how y'all want to groom yourselves. I like to think that we're grooming men to want to step into situations. Now, I'm glad he did, because nobody else did. And we've kind of all absolved, like, hey, listen, we get that nobody wants to put their life on the line for a stranger. But the responsibility is going to fall on somebody. And people are going to make bonehead decisions, get in their emotions. It's going to happen. And part of society is accounting for these things.
I mean, especially if you live in the hood. So once again, like, when we have the conversations about what needs to happen, that's why I say you need to be able to live in a safe environment. I know people can't do that, but this is all the shit that, like, you know, honestly, not to take it there, but when we had these conversations about provision, how much people make and all this shit, like, yeah, just realize you might end up having to live in one of these fucked up neighborhoods if you don't make a certain amount, and your kids are gonna grow up in this fucked up neighborhood and have a burden put on them very early that if they didn't live in that environment, they could just grow up and be a kid longer than they need to, not feel like they have to start protecting their mom because every time you go outside it's some heat. Like, yeah, it's fucked up. Like, it's part of the hood life, but that don't make that shit okay, and that's not the standard. Hood standards of how a boy should be raised in the hood. If that's the conversation we're having, like how a boy in the hood has to be raised, that's the conversation we're having. But is that going to be my standard? No, because that's not the goal. That is a substandard living. So I'm never going to say like a son has to be raised in the standards of somebody living in the hood, which is extremely violent and stressful. It's a substandard way of living.
Now, it is a substandard. I'm willing to concede that point for sure. But I'm also wanting to argue because when then is the age for them to step into protector roles?
When they decide to take on their role, or if you always have a responsibility to protect yourself. But if you have your own children, then now you have to protect them. Me as a woman, I have that responsibility as well to my children now, whether they're male or female. I have that responsibility as a parent. So that's one way. You take care of another person, you step into that role. And
how do you
a lot
teach
of
them
men,
that? Because they got to be taught that.
mean?
You don't. That's not automatic. There's not like, okay, somebody is birthed and everybody just is magically imbued with protector powers and knowledge and understanding and practical application.
I mean, just like you teach anybody, I think you model it for one thing, and you have to communicate that. I think part of raising children is communicating why you're doing what you're doing, which is something I do with my kids. If they hear me and their father, you know, having a little back and forth, and I might say, you know, I'm just going to walk out because I don't want to, or even with them, we have moments where we're going back and forth, especially a little 13-year-old. And I'm like, look at me. This is me. I'm escalated. If you keep talking to me, I am going to now go into another mindset. And that may mean I might hit you. Do you see how I look right now? Do you see the red flags I'm showing you that I'm beyond the point of talking to you? You should walk away right now. You have to model that to people. So you teach them, you model it. And a husband who has a son or a father who has a son is going to have these conversations with his son. I know my husband said his dad always had those conversations. His dad carries. His dad talked about what it means to protect and show him what he's doing and how that relates to protecting the family. So I think it's something you have to teach.
Okay. I know Reza brought this up, and I was thinking about that too. I know we brought up like the fact that she was trying to get after the guy's girlfriend. She did eat those punches, and he steadied himself, and like he really was trying to punch her with everything he had. That was crazy. But I wonder if she was thinking clearly. She could have been concussed. Who knows? I don't know how squarely he connected, because again, she stayed on her feet or landed in the corner and stayed off the ground at least. So I don't know how clearly she was thinking after taking those punches. So that's a lot.
I wonder if these situations of men, and I'm going to ask the men in the chat as well as you, Rashawn, like when you look at these situations, there's two questions that I have. Like, if you had a son, at what age do you teach your boy to hop into this protective mode? Like, at what age? Like, I mean, immediately when he's scrawny and small, and I mean 14, I mean, like what age do you guys start talking about protect your mama when I'm not here? Or I don't know, how does that work as a man, right? And the other question that I have is, I wonder, can we start talking about ever like, we have so many, since I've been a kid, stopped, you know, from the 80s. I'm born in 75, from New York, whatever. Like, we always talk about stop the violence, you know, self-destruction. We've got all these songs, and, you know, but like, at what point do we ever say enough is enough? Like, do we ever talk about like what could have been done to avoid this? Do we ever critically look at these situations and say, like, you know what? The man should have never hit that woman ever. Like, you have no right. Second point, woman, this man is obviously crazy. You don't know what kind of crazy, if he's on drugs, what kind of person he is. Get the hell out of there. You know, third, just bullet by bullet by bullet, all the different things that could have happened to de-escalate so that you had 3 people that had no charges and everyone was alive. Like, it seems like the lessons that we learned from this is, see, it's good to have a gun. See, that's why you got, like, it seems like we're getting the wrong lessons out of here. Like, but are we ever looking at these situations in which we're learning, like, how could this have been avoided?
I think we try to have those conversations, but they're very theoretical, because throughout the history of humanity, we haven't found a nonviolent civilization. So I think that's one of the reasons we don't even entertain that part, because we know we haven't solved that equation. We haven't solved that. If I'm not willing and able to use violence, somebody's going to be willing and able to use violence against me to get me to do what they want. That just seems to be the dynamic. Unless you can recondition every human all at one time to nonviolence, as you get a population of people who are disarmed and dissuaded from violence, they're going to be conquered, and that's just been the history. So we'd have to recondition everybody at once. Even in a small environment.
I'm talking about
like
an individual thing. I'm not talking about like a general thing. So I hear you, like, who with the biggest gun wins or whatever. Like, I get it. So you are correct, right? But I'm talking about in this individual situation in which, at the end of the day, she knows that she has the gun. So at the end of the day, she knows that, she could have pulled it whenever she wanted. It should have been on her person. Right. So she knows that, but as we look at the situation and learn lessons from this particular situation, right? Does anyone ever think, like, God damn, like, she could have walked away. He shouldn't be hitting nobody. Yeah. Like, it seems like we're like, oh, violence is human nature. Violence can't be avoided. I'm reading the chat.
That's what we're saying.
But are you telling me in this situation, Greg, that violence cannot? I'm not talking about mankind. I'm not talking about society. I'm talking about this situation. You telling me that violence could not have been avoided? Because I think in this situation, there are plenty of opportunities in which violence could have been avoided.
And again, this is purely theoretical. So let's do it your way. Because see, my issue with like what you're saying, not an issue like I have a problem with what you're saying. It's like my folks like picking it apart would be, we don't know what the argument is. So we don't know that this guy just didn't want to attack somebody. Because I've seen that too. I've seen it where somebody won't engage and they just go to the next person, and then they'll go to the next person. Somebody's going to get attacked until eventually they attack someone. Don't engage. Yeah, and I've seen people get beat up because they were not engaging. I've seen all the different levels of violence. People minding their business, getting socked from behind, walking up and down stairs. I've seen people get stabbed in the club. I've seen somebody try to drive through a window because somebody was talking to somebody else. I've seen people, when they get into a motive, I want to hurt somebody. It may not have even been that woman. He may have just chosen her because she was the only woman. Like I said, it looked like it might have been 3 guys in a row. She was the woman. Yeah. She might have been the mark. He might have been waiting for somebody that he could take an opportunity on.
Sound like they were arguing about the line or something like that too.
Could have been.
Like they were arguing about the line, or where they had a confrontation. So.
And he was being egged on by another woman who was witness one. Witness one was being egging on the situation according to everybody else and laughing. So we don't even know that if she walked away, violence could have been avoided. He may have been in there for the express purpose of causing a problem. Because people do.
Well, we do know she did not choose to try that.
We do know she did not walk.
She passed. She decided she was not going to de-escalate. She ain't tried. She had chances, and she clearly was not intending to do that at all.
So let's say she walks away, like you said. Okay, so then it's de-escalation. She just walks out, doesn't get her food. She just walks out when he starts elevating. Okay, it's over.
Yeah, what that's the end of the sentence. What? Okay, I was like, I was just making sure he was done.
I mean, because that's the assumption is, if she just walks out, then it's over. Like, it's just
maybe. And if she walked out and he went behind her, well, I got my strap, I got my gun in the car.
There you go.
If you want to keep following me, okay. Now you're gonna get shot, still by me though.
But that's
so even if I knew violence. I had my gun in the, but once again, if I knew I had my gun in the car and you're threatening me because we're in here and you're arguing with me, I choose to remove myself from the situation, right? And you chased me. Now you're pursuing me and you're trying to attack. You have an intention to attack me no matter what I do. Now I know this because I walked away from you and I went to my car.
You're right.
And you followed me with the intention to harm me after threatening me in there and saying, I'm going to knock you out if you say anything else. Okay, I don't say anything else and I walk out the door and you start chasing me. Now we know there's still a whole different thing because now you intended to harm me no matter what I did.
So let's put you in the corner. Let's put both of y'all in the corner. You're in that corner. He's between you and any exit. Do you still try to walk out? But he was.
That's like if you were, but he wasn't. In the situation, she was closer to the exit than him. Wasn't her son took her? Wasn't the door? I thought the door was like on the right. Is the door on the other side or is the door on which side is the door on? I don't know which side the door on.
We're in the door
has to be behind him because
there's two of them. There's two doors. There's one,
two doors,
which is going to be category. This one is not where the line is forming. This door is where the line is, where they're lined up over here. So this must have been the door.
Right.
So if either there's two doors or there's one. Okay, either way. Right. I've never been here. So either there's two doors with this one on the far end, which he's between her and him. She's looking right now. She's looking at her son. That guy's in between her and her son.
Okay, so but does this look like a person who's trying to move out of a corner? Because if you're in a de-escalation situation, you're not going to stay in a corner.
There you go.
She's in the corner.
If he is threatening her, would you have felt comfortable? Because we're talking about a man yelling in your face, threatening to hit you. Now, what does that trigger, Bree? Scientifically, what does that trigger?
What? Fight or flight?
Fight, flight, freeze. We don't know what state she was in. She might have frozen, but she not. We don't know.
But as far as how she could have moved, if I was de-escalating.
So would you have taken off running? You would have ran?
No. When you're trained in de-escalation, what she would have done if she was trying to move towards, I need to de-escalate. I need to get myself in there. She should have, the way she's facing now, she should have moved towards the people filming her. If the door's on the other side of him, you don't try to dart past him because now your back's going to be by him and you have to run past his arms. I would have started moving towards the people to my left to create space in between us. I would not have stayed in that corner. You're not going to get me standing in the corner arguing with you in arm's length. So you would have started to rotate around. She should have started moving towards the people who were filming her and see. Now, if he would have started moving towards her, now we got another problem because once again, there still will be more signs that he's intending to harm you no matter what you do. But this lady stayed in the corner and argued with this man at arm's length.
Now, also remember that girl that was also egging it on is in there too, just off frame somewhere.
I mean, maybe.
So she's right, or maybe she. No, we know she's
right. Yes, so she's behind her boyfriend. But once again, this lady is in the corner. Yeah, maybe you can't dart to the door. You don't just run past. Once again, I'm not saying she should do that, but you should have started making some steps. The space you had to put space between you and him was to your left. It looks like.
Okay.
That's where you should have been moving. You stand in the corner arguing? For what?
All right.
Like, I don't know. But I don't know, Ann. What do you think?
To me, this is all CPI training, like coming right back at me. You know,
right.
I agree. Like you don't put yourself in the corner with someone that's like this is something that we learn in nursing school and that we have to do in the hospital because we have people that are highly upset, psychotic, high, all kinds of different situations, right? And we have to go in the room and we have to take care of them. We got to give them meds. We got to like have some kind of interaction with them. And sometimes they're screaming, sometimes they're violent, you know. And so, look. I don't know. Like, I don't have the surefire way of like guaranteeing that like what she could have attempted to do would have worked. I'm just saying, unfortunately, the brief bit that I saw, it didn't seem like there was any attempt to de-escalate. That's all I'm saying. And like just to repeat, if she de-escalated and he still came after her, that's a different thing altogether. Even here in Connecticut, once again, the laws, you know, if someone is attacking you outside of your property, not in your house, like on your property, but like in the backyard, in the front yard, you have a responsibility to try to get away. Like that is like before you shoot, part of the law here says that you have to, I forgot what they call it, you have to retreat. You have to make an attempt to retreat. Yes, once you make that attempt to retreat and the person's still coming after you, then you can open up, right? And so there was, for me, maybe it's because of all the maybe because I'm conditioned with the CPI training as a nurse and the laws that I had to, the training that I had to go to get my carry permit. Maybe this retreat thing and this the conditioning that I've been under, and I respect that. But like for me, knowing that like I have a firearm, there's responsibility there. And I'm not going to. So for me, I don't want to put myself in a situation in which I have to use it, unless I'm going to try as much as I possibly can to know that like I tried everything that I could to de-escalate, to walk away, to shut the fuck up. You got it. I don't got to win an argument, bro. Okay, I'm out. No, I'm going to try everything in my pocket that I have available to me. And if that doesn't work, then I'm okay with the outcome of opening up, right? But you're talking, unfortunately, Arshawn, you're talking to someone that I dedicated my life to saving lives, right? So it's hard for me. Maybe if you talk to someone else, I come from the Bronx and all this other stuff, New York, right? But I've dedicated my life to saving lives. So I'm always like, try to, like, do we have to have all this, right? Maybe if you spoke to someone else, they would be like, no, she had the right to do this, because he doesn't have the right to put his hands on her. Like, there's no way, no how that I am negating the fact that even though I'm spending a lot of time talking about her, I completely respect the fact that who does he think he is to put his hand on this stranger? Like, that's also, that could be addressed also. That could be a whole show in itself. Why do men feel like, like, good and goddamn well that you are bigger than this woman. This is not a woman that this is not your, like, what makes you feel as a man that you have the right, because this woman is yapping and talking and you want her to shut up, that you have the right to put your hands on this strange woman that you don't know? Why do men fucking feel this way? What is wrong with the conditioning of Black men? Right? It means you guys feel like the woman is popping off and talking shit, right? And that's wrong. We spent a good little time talking about how she could have de-escalated, and just flipping it over here as well now to give equal responsibility and time to each side here. Like, who the fuck does he think he is?
First, I'm not even sure that he actually was bigger than her. When I look at that video, it looked like he was looking up at her.
I'm about to say,
but he's still a man.
He's still a man, though. He's a man. So that muscle and fat ain't the same.
She might have had him about a little bit, but
I like that.
Yeah, but I do agree with you. It is a problem. I'm not sure what it is. And I hear, that's why I don't like hearing it on panels. I don't even like hearing it on panels because they start this thing about well, if women are going to approach me like a man, I'm gonna treat her like a man. So like we rehearse that stuff and then we spread it. Like people really do take this stuff. They start internalizing and thinking like the stuff we're talking about. People do take it. There are a lot of people who are influenced. There are a lot of people who are malleable and they run with this stuff. Vulnerable populations that are listening to these conversations, they do run with it. So when women are espousing bad behavior, there are women that take up those causes. They start to, it becomes a thing, like a creed. Yellow talks about it all the time. People start living by these like feminist doctrines, even though they haven't studied feminism. They're hearing it and it's getting imparted because it sounds good. People make it sound good. I can do whatever I want. I'm free. I ain't worried about no man. Okay, cool. But all those choices that come out of that are from an ideology that has outcomes. The same thing with the men, all this red pill manosphere stuff. It's an ideology. And those behaviors have outcomes. Some of these outcomes are not treating women any differently, which is why everybody's talking about down with patriarchy. No. See, I want to believe that we can actually have a patriarchy, not because of the predatory nature of men in it, but because somebody would have protected this woman. Even if it was against her own worst impulses, she would not get beat in a corner while her son had to shoot somebody, because there were other men around and he would have never felt comfortable doing that around so many other men. It would have never gotten to that place because men stand in a place of protection of everybody in my community is part of us. It's an us thing. It's us. It's ours. So I have a hard time absolving everybody of that because I see people, especially when they talk about Black community topics, they talk about Black community. But there will never be a Black community if people don't take responsibility of it and over each other. So even if somebody is out of line, whether it's women, whether it's children, whether it's other men. If it's not our responsibility, then that means there is no our. There is no us, there's no community, and nobody has a reason to take us seriously or anything we want, because we won't even govern ourselves amongst each other.
Right, I hear
So,
you.
yeah, so
That makes sense. If he started punching and the other guy's like, yo, stop what you're doing,
Yeah.
and would have ran over to him and like or something or whatever, or say, hey, young blood, come on, back off as a woman. I get you. I like that. Like I said, I'm gonna probably agree to everything here because there's so many opportunities to learn. Like, how could it be as a community, as individuals, as a child, as a mother, as a grown man? Like, there's so many things that we could. What is that? I never heard. Right.
I never heard someone refer to a man as petite. Because she said he was petite. He was petite, but those blows were hard.
No, he was skinny. He wasn't petite. I think petite is short.
She's being
skinny.
Called him petite. A large number of people die every year from being punched by a man. I can only find 2 cases of people dying from being punched by a woman. Both were killed by hitting their head on the fall, not from the punch. Men and women are not the same. I agree. I do find it problematic that men feel it okay to seeing women as equal combatants. That's always going to be a problem for me. I'll never like it. Women feeling free to verbally express to men the way they have started to. I get it's in like it's a form of protection. It's like the same thing like animals. I'm making myself bigger, so I'm saying like less of a victim. I'm more of a threat. I feel more equal to you, but that has the counterbalance of, okay, well, I may see you as an equal combatant. That's problematic to me. I do think what you guys are saying, like the de-escalation, and I know people don't like this language, the submissive stances, the gentility, the making yourself the damsel. I know y'all don't like that role, but I think you have to make yourself, if you are weaker, forget what society, forget that feeling of needing to be free.
I would have manipulated the fuck out of that. Hell yeah.
Shit, I'm gonna be a damsel. Shit,
Man,
one thing I learned from them.
Fuck yeah.
I'm gonna be a damsel.
Yeah.
I'm small and
get my white girl tears. Where they at? Anybody see my white girl tears?
Forget the
I'm
mouth
on the
stuff.
floor, weeping.
Yeah. So
on the floor, weeping.
I just don't equalize. I'm saying I just don't equalize the woman's mouth and the man's fists. What a lot of people do in these conversations.
You're right.
Yeah,
you're completely right. That's like, so you applied a logical thing. Like what we do is, because we know that we're physically stronger, we try to just like, okay, I saw a video of a bear. It was at someone's backyard, and so this man protecting his family threw his fist up, his hands like in this, like just threw them up as far as he could and started screaming to scare the bear away. Right? That's what we do. So the same thing. The woman is using her mouth to become bigger than she actually is, right? And if the 2 people just left it at a verbal argument, everyone will be alive and there'll be no charges and there'll be no problem, whatever. But we're dealing with unfortunate reality here. We're dealing with the fact that we do have guns and people, fuck around and find out and all this other stuff. But so I agree with you there too, Arshawn. Like, it's just, there's so many elements in which we really got to just do better and figure out how can we protect our children, our boys, ourselves. Like, is it worth it? At what point do we realize, this shit ain't even worth it? Let me flip out of here. Let me just get out of here. It's not even worth it.
Yeah.
Right.
I know Greg says, I refuse to live my life cowering. So that's why I have a little bit more grace for the woman going verbal, like word for word with a guy. Because I'm like, I don't think women should have to live in fear of like their safety all the time. Like, again, I said shouldn't have to.
What we should have to do and what we do is 2 different things. Like, I shouldn't have to, but that's just the reality of the situation. So
right. Which is why I'm also okay with him. That's why I'm also okay with the son shooting the guy. The reality is what it is. I'm willing to live with the outcomes of the reality, but the child shouldn't
she
have
wasn't
to
living there.
Step up.
She wasn't living in reality though.
Back down.
But she wasn't living in that reality. Nah, because if she really lived in a reality in which she felt like her being a female inherently put her in a position to be not you in the lower hand and you're not safe, she wouldn't have been in this man face who just said he finna knock you the fuck out yelling.
Now, can you rephrase that? Because the reality is what happened. Reality is that she can go back and forth with a man. She did that. She went back and forth with a man. So that is the reality she put herself in.
But I was just saying, like, in the sense of women feel generally like men, they're unsafe when compared to men. Like, the reality is, like, for me as a woman, like, I don't stand a chance. Like, you're a man, I'm a woman, I don't stand a chance. So, but because that's my reality, I'm not gonna sit and argue in a nigga face at a hot dog stand who just said he finna knock me the fuck out. So I don't think that's her reality. I don't think that's her reality.
I think it is. Only because I'm around these type of people a lot. And they have to psychologically, there's only, what is it? I refuse to live my life cowering.
Can we talk about the cowering? Can we talk about this? Yeah, go ahead. I want to dive into this, the cowering part.
There's psychologically, no matter how small you are, no matter how weak you are, no matter how powerless you are, people and populations eventually get so far down that they can start to revolt. They can start a revolution. They will fight back against their oppressors. They will rebel. That is a dynamic on the macro and the micro level. You can, what they say, do not have an animal trapped in a corner. Psychologically, if a person feels, if they're constantly under threat, because this is also an aspect of feminism, we will not be made small. We will not be diminished. And you rebel against that actively. So I can understand women who are part of populations that have decided that they are no longer going to, because they, like everybody said, we have not been safe in our own communities. We've not been safe in our own families. We've not been safe here. All of the things, all of the respectability, the feminine respectability politics that everybody told me, if I was a damsel, if I was soft, if I was this, if I was like my grandmother, none of that worked. None of it worked. So I refuse to live my life cowering. So if none of the other stuff works, if nothing else, I'm going to go word for word with you. I'm going to go word. So I can understand the psychology of refusing to make yourself small because some man wants to threaten you. I can understand the psychology of refusing to live your life. I know I'm not on equal footing with a man, but what I'm not going to do, because he's probably going to do whatever he's going to do anyway. I've never been safe my entire life. From a child, I've never been safe. My home, my neighborhood, workplace, I've never been safe. When I'm going up to pick these goddamn hot dogs, I swear to God, you better not keep talking to me crazy because I'm going to talk crazy back. I can understand the psychology of that. That's what I'm trying to say. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, everyone. Yeah, I'm listening to this and I watched that video, and my thing is this. Okay, I gave that little boy a round of applause for gunning the dude down. You got no business putting your hands on that woman. I don't care what she says. You keep your hands to yourself. See, he was so wrapped up into himself, he couldn't see past his own nose. He knew full well what he could do to her. I'm a man. I'm probably stronger than her, even though the woman's twice his size. But I'm a man. I'm probably stronger than her. She can't handle these hands. I'm going to hit her in the face, blah, blah, blah. But he put no thought into what either she or anyone who was probably with her would do to him. This is why avoiding that situation at all, avoiding conflict in public or period, you should avoid that at all costs because you don't know where that's going to go. And this dude effed around and found out. You know what I'm saying? I get the lady's yapping away and getting on his nerves. I understand that. She was wrong for just keep running her mouth. But it depends on what they were arguing about, to be honest. I don't know what they were arguing about. But yeah, when he put his hands on her, that's when he turned the situation into something else. It's one thing to go back and forth with a woman. I still don't think you should do that either. That's just a personal thing. That's just me. But at the same time, it's one thing to go back and forth, but that would have been better than him putting his hands on her. Now the son coming in there shooting him, the son did what he was supposed to do. There's no man in that room stepped up to get in between them and break up the argument. And she doesn't have a man with her to step in and break up the argument. And you still need to have protection to protect yourself and others, from harm. And this guy did her harm. Period. I think Kennedy Dan said something earlier about in her state, you have to try to run first before you shoot somebody. I think that law should be banned and disbarred and done away with. Yeah. Retreat. No, that's ridiculous. Someone's trying to do you harm, and you telling me my first option has to be to turn my back on that person? When they now leaving myself even more vulnerable than I was before, because that person could do any number of things that I can no longer see. So I can't defend myself now. I can't protect myself if I turn my back on them and retreat. And in this case, this situation here, like when I think the only legal problem that they would have had is when the guy tried to flee after he got shot the first time, and then the kid chased him down and gonna die. Here's the thing, I agree with that too. If I pull my weapon and you running away from me, now you're no. Now you run. See, I don't know what you're about to do now. You might go to your car or go into your trunk and pull something out and come back. I can't give you the opportunity to do that. You didn't have to put your hands on that woman. You didn't have to do that. You fucked around. And now you found out. I think that no charges should be brought to any of them.
They've been dropped.
Yeah, there you go. Amen to that. I give him a round of applause. The justice system finally did its job. Now, is this woman a bad mother? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly. Two things can be true.
Absolutely. Yeah, two things can be true at the same time. What do you mean? Come on, bruh. No, no. He got everything he got everything he asked for. He campaigned for that bullet, and he got elected. That's what happened there. You don't have to put your hands on nobody. You can sit there and bicker and back and forth and argue all you want to. Fair enough. I mean, do you? But you don't have to put your hands on somebody. Once you cross that line, you have whatever happens to you after the fact. You, in my eyes, you have no grounds to argue against. No, you asked for it. That's my thing. I mean, the whole thing you have to retreat, and then the whole law you have in your state where you have to retreat first. No, give me a break.
Yeah. Hey man, Joe, give me a second. Let me ask the lady because they had asked me about something. Because brother Greg Bryant here did ask a question that I responded to, but Kansas Dan wanted to address this. So let's go into the cowering piece, and then I want to address Blackhearted and New Grove's question. I know Kansas Dan, you was like you didn't like the way that was phrased or something, but
yeah, I want to talk about cowering. Like, so what are we saying? Like, okay, so I don't view like. I don't know if it's because I'm not a man or what it is. Like, my ego isn't so easily damaged because I lose an argument, right? And so I do understand that there are people out here that are just crazy, and you can't be running away from every situation. Otherwise, you're about to be, taken advantage of, and people are always going to be picking on you until you fight back. I get it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm just kind of get some hold on like this idea of cowering away. Like, you're telling me because I want to not engage, that's perceived as cowering away. Like, this man is off his hinges, right? So I don't, my ego isn't set up, or my pride isn't such that like I can't just say, you know what, I'm walking away. I don't find that as cowering away. But if someone else finds it that way, that's up to them. Right now, at some point, obviously, I'm not walking away from I'm not about to be, taking advantage of every single day I come out of my house. Someone's just picking, and bullying on me. No, right? I'm just talking about this particular situation. And at some point, we got to say, like, you know what? We can't win every single argument. Mm-hmm. At some point, at some point, there's some situations in which you got to choose your battles. We can't be like, there's always going to be someone bigger than you. I agree with that. 11 o'clock. Some more fucking hot dogs at 11 o'clock. That's the real sin.
You have any idea how many nights I wish we had some place open at 11 o'clock so I can get some nasty ass food? Mm. I mean, you get hungry.
I don't know. What I just find it most interesting.
Why is a 14-year-old out at 11 o'clock? Oh, that's right. There's no man.
Did you say me or Mandrill?
Yeah, I definitely said Bree.
Oh, what are you, the cowering? That's just not a reality I give a fuck about because I'm a 5'2" and I'm a tiny woman. I don't give a fuck. I got people to live for. I feel like that's more of a man. That's probably a man thing. Maybe my husband can relate to that. I don't fucking relate. I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to be alive. I got shit to do. I got kids to take care of.
Exactly.
Bitch, I'll be a coward. You couldn't
I'll be a
check.
coward.
No. So who gives a fuck? All y'all call me a coward, bitch. Who gives a fuck? Okay,
Give
but
a
I'm here.
shit. Exactly.
So, I mean, there's one thing about cowardice as far as like not owning up to your responsibilities. I feel like that's cowardice. I feel like, you know, like people who don't have the balls to say they're not, like, I'm not happy in this relationship, so I'm just gonna fucking cheat on you. Like, that's cowardice. But like preserving my life because I have more important things to live for, I will never see that as a coward. If my husband saw this woman getting rocked at this hot dog stand and he came home and told me about that shit, there would be nothing in me that would be like, he's a coward. And I'd be like, okay, and that's wild shit. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even been in there
Completely
filming because as soon
agree.
as he started yelling, I'm peeling the fuck. These people got
Peeling
an
off.
argument in Memphis. These people in this McDonald's line got an argument at Memphis. One man was in one side, the lady was on the other side, and he was hanging out his window. You stupid ass bitch. Little black dude was yelling at this white lady. And he kept on, like, she had stopped talking to him. She rolled her window up. He kept opening the window, yelling. I was like, I pulled the fuck off. I was like, nope. I'm leaving because he might start popping. He looked like, because where my car was sitting in relation to her car and his, if he would have shot at her, it would have possibly hit me. So I just left. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go. So I don't care about being a coward.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify what we were talking about because the word I probably mumble. I mumble a lot. I don't enunciate quite a bit, but the word is to cower, COWER, which is to shrink away or crouch, especially for shelter from something that menaces, domineers, or dismays. So you guys were asking her to cower away from the threat, not to be a coward. Yeah, so I was just trying to clear up that real word. I know that.
She
I was like, how is walking away and saying like cowardly?
No, I'm like, she should have cowered though in this situation. She had nothing to, she stood to gain nothing from staying in that interaction. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
She should have just left. Like, what are you trying to prove?
I wonder if she would have, I mean, in her situation, and I wonder if she would have kept her mouth going if she knew that she did not have that firearm. Did that firearm, knowing that she had that firearm, did that give her some extra, like, I got something for your ass, in the back of her mind? But it was in the car. Because she knew it was in the car, and she knew her son was in the car. Like, if she was by herself without that firearm and he started popping off, would she have still went toe to toe with this man? I mean, possibly. I'm sure there's some women, but I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw a GoFundMe. She got something. Hopefully they won't have any legal bills. They did drop the charges. I want to definitely address one of the questions in the chat, and then I want to get to what Brother Greg Bryant asked us to. And so, forgive me. I'm going to keep calling you Brother Greg Bryant because I say Brother Von Bryant, and I started calling y'all the Bryant brothers, and my brain is now trained to say Brother Greg Bryant. So just don't take offense. I know you don't take offense to much of anything. Rashawn, do you not think she's so selfish? Think how her mouth allowed 2 men's lives to be ended. I do think it is a very selfish position to I'm also not putting a negative moral spin on selfishness when I say this. I do think it is selfish. She chose herself. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with choosing yourself, but there's a way to choose yourself. Your tactics, the tactics when you choose yourself matter. She could have chosen like a way out, like Bree and Kendra Adams said, a way where it may have taken a hit to the ego, to back away, to shut down, to walk out. She may have had to take that hit. That also would have been selfish because she could have enjoyed a long life with her son. Because again, she might have put her own life in danger. There are assumptions because we know what happened. But she could have gone back and forth with this guy, and he or his girlfriend could have shot her. It might not have been a punch. She might have gotten herself shot. So it is selfish to sometimes choose that path, but no matter which path she chose, like by definition, it would have been herself, the choice that the self made. So it would have been selfish no matter to retreat or to advance would have both been for the self. Now that's a tough one. But I get what you mean when you say selfish. Was she only thinking about herself? Possibly.
And it's a situation that goes both ways,
Hold
Sean.
up, man. Hold up. Yeah. I got you. How one of the guys is now dead because of the. And I'll say I ain't gonna put it on her. I hate putting it on her. I really hate putting it on her because she didn't punch herself.
Yes,
Like this guy punched her. Like he punched her. He escalated the violence. It was verbal. Like if you watch the video, he steadied himself. So he had time to steady himself and then say, if you don't shut up, I'm going to hit you. So he had time to steady himself and to give an ultimatum, which is typically a clear-minded thing. He made a choice, steadied himself, hit her, stumbled, regathered himself, and swung on her again. So I have a hard time wanting to put any of the onus on her, because I know everybody said there's blame to go around. Her mouth, there's very few things she could have said that would have warranted a fist fight for me. Like there's very few things she could. It's not that there's nothing. She could have came in and said, listen, I'm going to come in the bedroom and slit your mother's throat tonight. She could have said something real crazy. I don't know what would have started the conversation, but it would have had to been something of such immense proportion to start a physical altercation with me. But so I have a hard time wanting to put anything on her, because what could she have possibly said in I'm about to say a donut shop, in a hot dog shop, that was so egregious that it warranted what happened. So, but go ahead, man, Joe. Jump in, answer that question. What did you think about that?
Well, I mean, I just don't want people to misunderstand me. I do understand that this is a situation that could have gone both ways. I understand what people are talking about. She's running her mouth. She got hit. I understand that, people. You do have to watch your mouth, otherwise there are consequences. However, you have to understand that once you strike someone, you have now turned the situation into something completely different. He could have just said some hurtful things back to her. He could have done any number of things like that. He could have said any number of things. You know, your mother's a cancerous whore, or, you know, it's just anything. But once you hit somebody, or once you pull out a firearm, or or you brandish any weapon of any kind, you've now turned this situation to something else. And you need to be prepared for what comes after that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't excuse. I'm with Arshawn. I don't excuse. From my point of view, I can't give that guy any kind of pass for putting his hands on her. I understand she's running the mouth and it's getting on your nerves, man. But you could have walked outside and cooled off. And and like Arshawn said, you warned her and gave her an ultimatum, which is a clear-minded thing. You knew that you was going to hit that woman. Fair enough. Okay, hit her. It's your decision. But be prepared for the get back. You want to go there with it? Go there. But hey, he wasn't ready for her son to come in with that thing. To use, you know, some people's vernacular. And that's the thing. Yeah. I'm all right with him hitting her. If he's ready for what comes afterwards, you know what I'm saying? And he clearly was. I'm like, okay, you hit her. I think that's wrong. For me, it's not a decision I would have made. I just wouldn't argue with the woman in the first place. I mean, I've had people try to, say something slick to me or say something rude to me in restaurants before. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, no problem. Go ahead. Hey, I was before you. You were? Yeah, I was before you. And then, okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Ooh.
And then that person keeps running off at the mouth, even though I just clearly just said, okay, no problem. Go ahead. And step back and let that person go ahead of me. That person kept running their mouth. I just said nothing. And then, it turns out that person was just on one that day anyway, because they went and gave the clerk some static and then yelled it back at the kitchen, talking trash to them. I'm like, you know what? I don't have to see her do anything. The cooks will handle it for me. Why are you talking trash to people who handle your food? People, I don't know.
Never understood that.
Not something I do, but you want to go ahead. But no, and that's the thing. He could have done any number of things and been the bigger person, and understand the woman's just jaw jacking. So just let her have it and just go ahead, be whatever.
I'm gonna tell you, there was plenty of video with her minding her business facing the counter. So I don't even know how it got started, because there was lots of video where somebody said something to her where she turned around to address him, because she was facing the food counter when seemed to start.
So the video evidence implies that he said something to her first.
We don't see the start of it, but at some point she was minding her business, facing the food counter, facing the food people. So even though if there might have been words exchanged, then she walked to the counter and presented herself to the who's running the register.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, they have a diversion, like they've separated. But then he walks up on her while she's in that corner. So whatever happened before, I don't know. I didn't see it. I can't say anything about it.
Yeah,
but at some point, he walks up on her and becomes the aggressor because she was facing. She had her complete back turned towards everything that was going on, and then when he was walking towards her, you saw her turn around, and it went kind of started.
And that's the thing, where you're looking at this situation now, it looks more and more like he started it in the first place. That may not be the case. However, given the evidence that we have, it looks like he started it. And, again, Arshawn, fair enough. Start it. Are you ready for what comes afterwards? Because I can't feel sorry for him. You put your hands on a woman. That's a big no-no to me. You put your hands on her. You campaign for that bullet. You got elected. Don't cry now. And like I said, legally, the only thing they may have had to worry about is when he tried to run and the boy chased him outside and finished the job. I say the boy did what he was supposed to do. You're supposed to finish it. Once I brandish a firearm, you're dead. Mm-hmm. Or me. One of us has got to go. Once I brandish a firearm, because I'm brandishing it to use it. There's no more talking. I'm brandishing the firearm. I'm done talking. There's no catchphrases. There's no one-liners, Arshawn. It's not the movies. It's just that person's not here anymore. And I don't see what the argument is. Like, there's some people who are. I've seen some people who are debating this. Do you think this is right? Do you think this is wrong? What about the? Hey, listen. She was right. She's out there unprotected. And should she have had the firearm in her purse?
Who was right?
She was right to get her son to come help her. She didn't have nobody else. And this dude punched her in the face.
I was just trying to see what clear. I honestly don't think she called him in to help. There seemed to be no point between when she told him to go back to the car and when he decided to shoot dead. Unless they cut the video, I ain't seen no point where she got her phone out and called him. And the only thing I saw was her send him away. So I don't really even think that story of her calling him to help her was true. I feel like he might have, maybe if they were going at it before, she was like, this man had crazy, bring me my gun. Like, I think that's probably what went. I don't know. I just didn't see anything between where he started hitting and he was squared up that she called her son. So I don't know.
Yes, maybe.
So, man, hold up real quick. Mm-hmm. I want Bree and Kendra Dan to address this question that was asked to me. Because I know me and Mandrell answered it. Bree and Kendra Dan, what do you two think about this? Like about her being selfish? Do you think there's like the selfishness, like of her going back? I know y'all didn't agree with her running her mouth. Like y'all,
she emotionally unregulated. She don't. I don't think she considers how what she does affects her son in whatever in this situation. I don't think she thought about in that sense. Yes, I think she's typical emotionally unregulated. Don't think about nobody. Probably got anger issues. Just don't know how to cut it off. Just gotta get the last word. I mean, yeah. So I think it is selfish. I think as a parent, I don't cut slack for parents. I feel like when you have kids, my priority most of the time is getting back to them, keeping them safe. And so if I have a situation where I feel like there's a potential that I could be leaving this earth because I decided to go forward, or I'm putting them in harm, or I can harm myself to where they would be out here by themselves, I'm just not going to typically choose to go that path. So in that way, I would say, yes, she is selfish.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said this earlier. I'm not sure when he was the question by New Grove.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure when he tuned into the program here, but I said the same thing. Now, look, does she have the right to say what she wants? Yes, right? But I'm talking about the reality of the situation, knowing that there's danger. The man is clearly telling you that I'm going to punch you. I'm going to knock you the fuck out. Shut the fuck up or I'm going to knock you the fuck out. Like, this idea of, well, I have rights. No one is talking about your rights right now. We're talking about reality, not your rights, reality. And the reality of the situation is, like, she could have just shut up, right? And hopefully, I don't know if he still would have been jumping on her. I don't know, right? Like I said, I completely blame him for putting his fucking hands on her. But I would like to see her also. I wish there was video in which I could say, you know what, she made an attempt because of the nature of who I am, right? It could be the nurse in me. It could be the small Black girl in me that's always wanting to do that. I don't know, but the way that I'm conditioned, I would like to make an attempt to know that I want to de-escalate. So if she can shut the fuck up, they don't got to win every single argument. I don't even know why. Why? At what point do we realize, like, this is not worth it? These hot dogs, these tacos, that this shit ain't worth it. Right? I value my life. I value my kid. I value all these different things more so than winning this argument with this deranged human being that's in front of me right now, threatening to put his hands on me. So yeah, I do think, like, from what I see, and like I said, there might be more video, there might be more evidence coming out. Eventually, I'm like, oh, well, listen, she tried. So that's all I asked. And he still came after her. But let me see. My problem is that Anne. Why did you put an E in my name? Like, anyway, the problem is Black men don't read. Anyway, my problem is that Anne, that you're saying you should abandon your rights when you are threatened. Listen, what I'm saying is you have to live in reality, my dear Greg. You have to live in reality. So, like, should she be able to talk? Like, two things can be true at the same time, Greg, right? So, I don't know who you are or where you're at or whatever, but as a minority in terms of physical size, knowing that, like, no one's going to be looking for me. If I get shot, it's not going to be all over the news. Candid Ann got shot. No one gives a shit. So I'm trying to get back home to my life. So yeah, I have the right to talk. I have that right. But if this man punches me and I fall or he shoots me, or who knows what he would have really done, right? Who cares about my rights at that moment? I'm trying to stay alive. So, I mean, I hear you that people have rights, but we also have reality.
This isn't a rights
issue. Don't make you bulletproof.
Yeah, this ain't shit.
Yeah, I get you. I get the practicality. I want to address Black-hearted new growth, and then I want to come back to Greg Bryan's question about emotional control. But because I'm stay on this line of logic, he said this logic: once you hit someone, it's a death sentence. It's the same thing we're trying to get our kids to stop doing. Am I wrong? I'll let y'all start. Let's start with the ladies, then Mandrell, and I'll wrap this one
With
up.
what logic? The logic of once he hit her, he had the right to go?
Like once he hit her, it opened the physical. Like
no, I don't. I think my teaching, because as a parent who tries to, go with respectful parenting, which is like, it's never okay to hit someone. It's never okay to hit someone. I do teach my kids the caveat that, like, the reason we don't disrespect and the reason we don't enter into the realm of disrespect and violence is because you don't know what the other person on the other side is going to do, because everyone comes with their own set of problems and all sorts of things. So I don't think that hitting someone means they should die. I don't think that if someone hits someone, they should be shot. I think in this situation, though, with this kid, he had a gun. Who knows? If he didn't have the gun, maybe he would have ran over there and tried to physically fight the guy. But he's 14. This is still a grown man who's trying to knock his mom out. I think he felt like that force was necessary, and clearly the law agreed with him because they let it go. So I don't think that this is saying that it's okay to shoot people when they hit people, which is also why I'm very harsh on the mother. I think she should have.
Yeah, exactly right. That's exactly what I was thinking, Brent. I'm glad you finished up with that.
I know I cut out. Yeah. I think I cut out.
That's true. She did not try to fight him back.
But okay, I was gonna say I think I cut out.
You did cut out.
He happened to have a gun and he used it to stop excessive force.
Yeah. I'm gonna come back to your rights argument, Greg, because you do have a point, but I think it's like a macro thing. We'll come back to that too. We'll come back to you after we finish this new real point. What about you, Ken Danan, and then Mandrill?
Can you
And the
repeat
question
the
was the logic. Once you hit someone, it's a death sentence, because we were kind of excusing the fact that the boy shot the man because of him punching the mother. So he's drawing the correlation that aren't we trying to tell the youth to stop shooting people because of a fight? Am I wrong?
I don't have an answer for that because I think I'm a bit Mandrell on this one. Like, once you put your hands on someone, you're opening the door to something that you don't know how far the person's going to take it. And so, like he already crossed, it was a verbal altercation. He opened the door to it becoming a physical altercation. And now the son opened another door to it becoming a deadly altercation, right? So, like, who's applying rules here? Like, are we saying, okay, you and I are arguing, and we're gonna, okay, in this argument, like, let's establish some rules. If no one's going around, let's establish some rules in this engagement, in this argument. We're gonna keep this a verbal argument at the hot dog stand. Do you agree? Okay, sure, yes, sir, I agree. Let's continue arguing. Like, you don't know what the rules of engagement necessarily are, so you're playing games here by, like, she's not de-escalating. That's one area that she could have maybe, hopefully, he obviously should not be putting his hands on nobody, right? He opened this door. So it's hard. I would like people not to, like, I've spent a lot of time on this panel today talking about de-escalating, getting away, retreating, CPI, all these different things. I obviously don't advocate for violence, but unfortunately, once a certain threshold has been crossed, you have to protect yourself. You have to. Like, someone as small as I am, someone standing up to me and clearly punching me numerous times in my face, talking about they're gonna knock me unconscious. Like, if they cross that line for whatever reason, let's pretend I did retreat and they still did it anyhow. At what point do I say, well, now I'm going to start fighting you myself. You punched me, so now I'm going to punch you back. This is going to be a fair argument, right? No, like, you open the door to some bullshit. Now we in the bullshit realm, right? We are no longer in the logical realm. We on some shit right now, So it's unfortunate. Like, it's not the reality that I want to see us in. But this is real. It's real life.
Marjorie.
Yes. What exactly is your questions? I think it sounds like we're giving the same answers. No, I'm just saying it sounds like we're giving the same answers. Some
I just want everybody's thoughts on it. Even if everybody has the same answer, you can give your thoughts on it, or you can just say, well, I agree with everybody else, and we can move on. But it was New Growth didn't like the fact that we were kind of excusing the homicide of a person based upon physical violence. He thought the proportionality is something we're trying to teach kids away from. We're trying to tell kids, don't shoot somebody over a fist fight.
Yeah. Are we teaching kids? Shouldn't we be teaching kids first and foremost to keep your hands to yourself? I mean, I was. And at the same time, my parents understood reality. There are going to be some situations where that other person doesn't give you any choice, and you have to stand your ground, and you're going to have to defend yourself. Now, once that person runs afoul at you, i.e. striking you, the ball's now in your court. You handle that situation however you like. If you choose to walk away, cool, walk away. But if you choose to gun that person down, chop off their heads, maim them, beat them up, whatever you decide to do, that person asked for it and they got exactly what they deserved. So in this case, I don't see where it was excessive. You should have been man enough to keep your hands to yourself. You should have had more control of yourself than that as a man, a leader, as they call it in this space. You're that feminine, you got to strike a woman. And that woman wasn't striking you back. It wasn't striking you. I can see if the woman hit him first, but all she did was say some words. I mean, so no. You teach your kids to keep their hands to themselves, and you also teach your kids to defend themselves, and you also teach them when it's okay to defend themselves. That's how you handle that. You don't teach your kid to walk away from everything. That makes them passive and weak. They're ill prepared to handle the challenges of life if you teach them to walk away from everything, because that's going to be a pattern. Anytime anything gets tough or challenging, they're just going to walk away from that too. And it has nothing to do with physical violence. So be careful the seeds you plant in your kids' heads. Your job is to teach them to warn them and teach them how to manage life. You don't teach them to be cowards or weaklings and then complain about there not enough strong men out there later on. Pay attention to what you're raising, man.
I'm with that. And my answer to answer your question, black-hearted with new growth, old soul. That is what we've been trying to teach our youth, but I think we're in a new world. I think we have to take what the world we have and not the world we want. Like, we have to prepare them for the world we have, but train them to create the world we want. Mm-hmm. So because the world we have is, you might get into a fight with somebody and they may come back to you, even your school at 14 with a gun. You have to prepare them for the fact that a fist fight may end in somebody's death. Like, that is a reality of this world. If you get into a fight at the club, somebody may go to the trunk and come back to shoot you. So every fist fight may end with bullets. That's the reality I would prepare even my 14-year-old, my 12-year-old, when I was my nephew. I told him, man, fist fights, anybody that gets into a fist fight with me, I'm going to assume you're trying to kill me because I see the way the world is. It's probably not going to stop. If I lose, it's probably not going to stop. And if I win, it's probably not going to stop because the person's going to want to come back. So it's got to be to the death at this point because that's the world we have. People want to come back and shoot, or they want to go. Even there was a guy who, I think he was a football player, basketball player. And y'all probably heard the names, but some woman, she didn't like, and I think she was even married. She was married, but dealing with some guy. He hurt her something, not physically, but she went and got her brothers to come to beat him up at his house. So he ends up shooting one of the brothers that she brought to the house to beat him up. And that was a whole big thing. And everybody, like, she didn't even get charged with murder or anything. It's like people bring guns and violence to people that for situations that do not warrant it. So you can't take that off the table. It has to be a part of the equation. So I would train them to understand that that's probably where this stuff might lead. There's a lot of gang culture in a lot of these cities. So it's not like you get into a fist fight and it's like, gee willikers, everybody just dust your chin off and, let's get popsicles. That's not the way people move anymore. That's the world we love, but that's not the one we have. So that's why I can't agree with what you're saying. Because even my nephew, when he was in school, I'm like, nah, if they want to fight, man, be prepared. Because people like to jump people. They're recording it while they're jumping people. And then they're coming back to shoot you later on. So it's too much. There's too much mess out here. So I can't, in that situation, especially, and this wasn't even a man-to-man fight. This was a man beating on a woman. So even in that situation, like, okay, it was a fight. If it's a fair fight, nobody goes to get a gun. This wasn't even a fair fight. It was a man hitting a woman who wasn't fighting back. Like, she wasn't swinging on him. She didn't swing on him first. Everything we saw. So I can't equate those two to like the teenagers, and we're trying to tell them not to fight and shoot somebody over a fight, because it's a little different. Now I want to move over to Greg Bryant because he asked a question about the emotional regulation, and we are coming up on 3 hours. So if anybody, Bree, candidate, and I appreciate y'all. If any of y'all have to step down, let me know. And then if we start talking and y'all have to step down, hit me in the private chat, and I can let y'all get y'all's last words in or something. All right, let's get a popsicle. Greg Bryant asked a question. He dropped him in self-defense, not guilty. If you make me shoot you, I'm going to hit what I aim at. Don't make me pull. But Greg had asked, can we talk about his lack of emotional control? Jesus Christ. I know. The dude.
I mean, yeah, they both, neither one of them had emotional control, and that's the problem. And I know I've heard Yella talk about this. Like, we all get so caught up on this and this and that. It's all adults have a responsibility to handle their own emotions. And unfortunately for women, because some women get too comfortable, it's like, well, if this man, men shouldn't hit women, but if this man is telling you he about to hit you, he probably about to hit you. Like, he clearly got anger issues, or he beats women, or he is crazy, or he's off. Like, clearly he has a lack of emotional control if he's hitting someone for saying something, right? Clearly, he has that, but so does she. The only person who had emotional control in the situation was her 14-year-old son, which is disappointing.
Agreed.
So I don't think either one of them had emotional control, and that's the problem. A lot of these people get together and you want to match people energy. I'm gonna match your energy. I'm gonna match your energy. Oh, okay. This is what happened when you match energy.
I'm so happy you said that, because I had said this month, maybe even a year ago, why I do not believe in matching this fucking energy. You become a puppet. Like, do you have no control over yourself at all? Do you have any ability to say, like, you know what? I'm going to, I agree. Like, this, I don't even have anything to add. Like, Bree basically said it. There was a lack of emotional control, except for the kid who literally was just put in a situation that he shouldn't have been put in. But the two adults there, absolutely, there's fault on the man's side. Who the hell does he think he is? And the woman, I have to give her some responsibility. Just what you arguing with this man for? You got your kid. He has a gun. Like, there's a gun present. Like, just knowing that you have a firearm, right? Just walk away. So yeah, there's blame on both of those adults.
Yeah, they both childish for real. It's not that's what I'm saying. It's not a gender thing. This is an adult thing. Adults should emotionally control themselves. He had none. She had none. They both didn't have it. This isn't a gender thing. I expect grown people to emotionally regulate themselves. Like, you shouldn't match energy. Be like water, neutralize. You shouldn't match. I don't match. If I match energy, I'd be whooping some patient's ass. Okay, so I'm just saying, like, can't be matching energy all the time. I'd be swinging on some laboring women if I match energy out here. Nah, for real, like, nah.
Seriously,
like, these people be out here crazy, acting just like this man. Like, you think it's okay because somebody say something you don't like to swing on them. Well, honestly, a lot of y'all parents raised y'all that way too, right? Because a lot of y'all got whoopings just for saying something they didn't like. So, honestly, not shocked. Still, this is why you don't match energy all the time.
Mendra?
Yeah, the lady said it. You don't try to match energy. There's a saying someone told me once. You know why you shouldn't argue with a woman? Why is that? Because from a distance you can't tell the difference. You can't tell.
I don't like that saying at all. I don't know who told you that.
Here's the thing.
I think the phrase is why you shouldn't argue with a fool. And someone fucked around and moved it into a woman. But the phrase, from what I've historically heard, it's don't argue with a fool, because from a distance you can't tell which one is the fool.
Which one is the fool? Yeah, exactly. I've heard that one as well.
Yeah, that's the right one.
Well, listen, no. Here's the thing. For this space, and this time, and in the this whole thing in the zeitgeist, it fits because look at these panels. How many of these guys behave like women, and they argue like women? It's like, but then they'll yell at the women for arguing that way.
Oh, man, Mandela
is really getting me started, but like,
really trying to take it here, because what does arguing like a woman mean? What does that mean? Because it sounds like you're saying emotionally unregulated people, how they argue, which is not inherently just women. So what are you saying?
He's been hanging out in the wrong places, so his mind is messed up.
What I said. A lot of these guys complain about women, but then they behave in the same manner that they complain about women about.
These men complain about ill-mannered people, and then they go ahead and replicate those mannerisms of those people, whether it's male or female, because you have been on panels, or you've seen multitude of panels in which there are no women on there at all, and two men are going back at it. They're making video after video after video, and no woman was in the fucking thing at all. So,
cool. Gotcha. No problem. And listen, so
retreat, Mandrell,
So here's the thing.
Make the right choice.
Number one, ladies, watch your mouth. You can't run your mouth to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Learn when enough is enough. Okay, and because there's times where you'll want the last word. All right, we'll let you have the last word. After you got the last word, you still want to pop off some more. It's never enough with you. So this lady got popped in her mouth. I understand that. Fair enough. But where we go wrong is when we say her reaction was wrong. Is it no? That reaction to
Her
him getting shot
reaction,
wasn't
she didn't
wrong.
really react to much. She
Hey,
got
hey,
knocked.
hey.
She got her
Her
ass
reaction
beat.
was
I didn't see her react.
her reaction was oh, you gonna hit me? Knuckles, get the handbag. Right, boss. Pow pow.
That
That's what
is
happened.
not what happened.
So I mean, yeah.
Her son was already there. Her
Hey,
son was
listen.
already there.
But you know what I'm
And
saying?
saw-
She got someone to handle her lightweight. That's the gist of it. Her reaction was not wrong. You shouldn't have put your hands on her. You shouldn't have done that, man. You didn't have to argue with that lady like that, and you didn't have to hit her. I guess she's running her mouth, but they're just words. And you know how some women can be. You know that there are some women out there who just won't leave well enough alone.
They both
If
feel.
this is
They both did the
wait,
same
this is
thing. They
even
both
the
were doing
case.
the same thing, though. They both were doing the same thing.
I get
He
it,
was
but somebody
doing
got
it
to be
and
the
she was
bigger
doing it.
person here, Bree.
Then nobody was, and that's what I'm saying. But this isn't some women. This was a man who didn't know when to shut the fuck up, and this was a woman who didn't know that. This is not.
Yeah, and it could have been just. It would have been just fine had they argued. Fair enough, whatever. But when you put your hands on somebody, understand, people, you've now turned the situation into something completely different.
No, the situation already went left before the hands was laid, and that's what I need people to
No,
realize. That
if they just
oftentimes,
arguing, you
oftentimes the chance to make the different choice is not once the person's swinging on you, because now once the person's swinging on you, you in the fight. Okay, now you got to just do whatever is required to get out of the fight, survive the fight, win the fight, lose, whatever. You're in the fight. So oftentimes the choice is before the swinging. The choice is before the swinging. And in her situation, she had the perfect moment to be like, you know what? I'm not even about to do this. When he said, if you say one more thing, I am going to knock you out. You wouldn't have had to never worry about me saying shit. I would have just, you know what? I'm not going to find out today if he lying.
And see, that's weak.
On
his part, to me. Yeah, they're both.
I mean, yeah, his part, but what if he
right?
Like, this is me. When you're in a situation, if I'm in real life, I don't know if this man crazy. I don't know if he's sane. But guess what? I'm not finna find out if he was lying.
I feel you. I'm just saying, ultimately, who was both of them was wrong, but who was more wrong in this situation, from my point of view, was the dude.
The aggressor was wrong.
The aggressor was wrong. You're right, and that's where it starts.
The aggressor, obviously, but you can't. Once again, she failed to hold up her responsibility as an adult as well. But like, yeah, he's the aggressor. He resorted to violence first. So in this case, yeah, okay, he got shot. Blah blah. You ain't heard me saying nothing about this man getting shot. I don't give a fuck. Well, he dead now, so he found out too. But
he sure did.
She had a choice, and she chose to fuck around and find out, and she did. And then he also subsequently fucked around and found out as well. So they both equal to me in this situation. They're both equally foolish. Because his girlfriend could have been the one with the gun, and she could have got shot.
Yeah, now that's when he got
shot. So
that's where it went wrong. That's where it went left for me, is when after the guy was gunned down, the mother then tried to get the gun from her son and tried to go after the girlfriend who laughed. I was like, all right, look, now that's when you lose me. That's when you lose me. Okay, enough is enough. You got to learn where to put a cap on it. You can't go after that woman. I mean, because she laughed. She had nothing. She didn't hit you. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you pump the brakes on it for me. But all in all, I don't see a problem here. You got two fools. You got two fools who had to try to prove a point. One did, and end the story.
Got you. To answer Greg Bryant, can we talk about his lack of emotional control? On me, I feel a little differently than the rest of the panelists. I do feel like there's an imbalance, but I kind of stated that earlier. I feel like there's more onus on the man to control himself, especially when it comes to physical violence. It's never going to be equal to me. He has more responsibility to control his physical actions and behavior than the woman has to control her mouth. That may be a double standard, but that's a double standard that I'm okay with. I'm okay with men having more of a need to control their bodies and what they do with them than women talking back. That's always going to be. I'm never going to be like, oh, it's equal. If she says something, he can hit you and it's equal. No, I'm never going to be that way. But to Greg Bryant, because you were making you were making the old Jewish comparison about the rights. I want to talk about that really quickly. A man with a gun tells you to stand in line. So you do. Then he tells you to get in the camp. So you do. Then he tells you to go in the chamber. Everyone in concentration camps are just worried about staying alive. If you abandon your rights to avoid violence, you are creating a reality you really don't want to live in. Now, I get what you're saying. And when I said this macro, and you said the macro is made up of micros, that's great. But when I go to the store, I spend my earnings. I don't spend the GDP. I don't spend what I don't spend the macro money. I spend the micro money. So the macro and the micro, even though there's a relationship, they're not the same. So in this case, this person in the reality, their rights don't matter. She had a right to do business in that place, and that guy still hit her. So her rights didn't matter to the aggressor. So having the rights didn't make the situation right. After the fact, she could have appealed to her rights to address it through the law. But in that moment, the law was not present. The law is an idea. And that guy didn't care about the law in that moment. He assaulted. There was battery that took place. So the law does not protect people. Otherwise, people would not get all of the different victimizations that happen statistically. So the rights don't matter when it comes to reality. You can address the reality with the law, but that's always a long and complicated process. So that's why I differentiate between the micro and the macro, because it doesn't matter how many rights you have. In the moment, if you got that person with the gun telling you to stand in the corner, you have to deal with that. Then you can appeal, like you brought up the Jewish thing. You can appeal to the Geneva Convention. You can appeal to the allies. You can appeal to somebody, say, hey, I need some help. There's somebody overpowering me over here in this corner. I'm getting worked over. I'm getting worked over. Help. You can do something using the law, but you have to start with what you have. And that might just be your hands. It could be anything. It could be anything. But you're right. The law is there. But in that moment, it don't mean nothing. I agree he was more wrong for hitting her, but I also think she was wrong. I see now that the hate for females is real. It's definitely real. I had a guy say he was going to drop me. I told my manager that, and I and every piece of equipment would be in the fight, and I removed my badge first, man, for real. And even my nephew, because my nephew was always smaller than the rest of the family. I told him, you got to use whatever you can to equalize your advantage. You know, go for weak points, knees, eyeballs, testicles. Like, you got to, if you fight a guy and they bigger than you, don't be trying to fight fair. Many people do not care about the law. The rights do matter. If they tell you to get in a camp, you fight to the last man. Again, that's the macro problem. But I'm talking about if the first person comes to you with a gun, telling you to get to a camp, like you said, you got to fight. That's the practical. But the legal is you trying to, like, after you fought and saved your life from that first person, you've got to appeal to somebody, a greater force or a greater system, to try to keep that from being a reoccurring problem. So, I mean, you're right on the macro level, but on the micro level, like you said, you've addressed both of them here. You got to fight to the last man up front. You got to fight for your survival first before you can even appeal to the law, because the law is not going to be by your side. They're not going to be waiting for you at whenever the situation jumps off. But let me see. Boop, got that. Boop, got that. Boop, got that. Cool. All right. So we got through those questions. Bree is back. Give me a second. I did want to ask you all about, because it started with, now, what if it's the government coming for your rights? For me, it's the same difference. For me, it's the same difference. You have to fight for survival and then appeal to another system. You might have to try to flee. You might have to try to get a hold of the UN. There has to be something, or if nothing else, you got to escape. If the government's, I don't know, what did I just buy? Okay, sorry, receipt just popped up. My bad.
It's before you.
Please go ahead. Please jump in.
This whole thing about my rights, I have rights. It's kind of irritating for me to listen to, because too often in America, people think they have a right to a lot of things that you have no fucking right to at all. What makes you have rights? Rights to what? What are we talking about? You know, like, so these ideas of, like, I have the right to healthcare. I have the right to, I don't know, make it up, do whatever. I don't even want to say whatever it is, but people think that they have a right to a lot of different things, right? And it's kind of like, I wish this person, it's kind of difficult when you're in the chat, you know, when you're on the panel, because what are we talking about here? Now, in America, you know, you have the right to freedom and pursuit of happiness and blah, 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 blah. But let's be real. It gets murky right? And people think they have rights to a lot of different things. Like people think that I bought something and I'm the customer, so I have the right to disrespect you. I have the right. I'm the customer. I have rights, and this is just kind of getting irritating for me to talk about people and their rights. You have rights. You know, people don't understand that your rights. I don't have to respect your fucking rights. I don't have to respect your fucking rights. You know, and you have, and I guess in that same regard, you have the right to deal with me in whatever manner that you want to, right? And so this is why we have lawlessness at times. This is why I always talk about like retreating and being respectful and making sure you have emotional intelligence and trying to de-escalate, because you don't know what kind of crackpot is out here talking about their rights and I have the right to this and this is America and COVID is a man-made government, but all this fucking bullshit that people have in their mind about their rights and the government and all this conspiracy shit. All right, so I'm just saying that, like, you know, and on a case-by-case, we're talking about this particular situation on a case-by-case basis. You know, you have rights, and I hope that you know, use the law and use your common sense and all. You have the right to use common sense too. Let's not forget about that. Right. But I recognize that people have rights, but let's not take this one situation and then make it into this whole fucking thing about Jewish people in concentration camps. That was a whole huge different discussion and a whole huge different set of shit. Like, I don't like it when people use one little a fucking hot dog stand argument, and now we're talking about concentration camp rights. The two are not the same. The nuances
they're related.
The nuances and all the issues and all the problems and all the setup and all they are not completely the same.
Yeah, they're not the same.
I understand there's similarities.
Yeah, there's a point that he's making, and that's why we've lost control of our communities. What he's talking about is the fact that somebody can come in, because this has happened instead of a government doing this to us, I don't know what they call it, like shadow government. There's a governing system in the hood. That's not the government. That's not the state. It's not the city. It's not the country. It's not the county. But there's a governance system of violence. There are groups that run that people know. People knew this guy. I guarantee you, he knew this guy and he knew other people. So there are systems of governance even in the hood. The drug dealers, there are codes, there are gangs. They control certain territories. There is a government system, and they have taken over through violence, and it's been the slippery slope that he's talking about. You're not standing up for your rights, but these people don't care about our rights. The violent criminals don't have a code that we can take to another system or appeal to a judicial system. There's nothing there for that. It's just we have to overpower them by force, because the government, unfortunately, with the hood, because there's a dichotomy in the hood where their blackness and citizenship overlap. The government is not going to save us because of the blackness. And the citizenship means we're a part of something where we cannot take the law into our own hands. So then we end up with our hands bound because we can't take the law into our own hands, which is why they arrested the young man and the mother first before saying, well, we're not going to charge you, because they took the law into their own hands. See, so actual policing and governance of themselves in the community is actually penalized and has to work through a system. And they had to say, we'll let you go, which is messed up, which means you're not in control of your own life. So an
arrest is not a conviction. You can be arrested and
I'm not saying it's I didn't say it was a conviction.
No. So you're saying that it wasn't right.
Yeah, their freedom was taken. Their freedom was taken.
No, it wasn't. They were just arrested.
You're arrested. That's your freedom is taken. You're gone. You cannot just walk out if you're arrested. Can't it come like let's.
So hold on, no wait. So like I get that you're talking about your freedom, but like so I don't want to go down this whole rabbit hole because I'm not like a legal politician or whatever. Yeah. But like when a situation is being investigated, we agree that an arrest is warranted until you find out. And it's not the same as a conviction. So temporarily, yes, your freedom is taken away for that time, but someone has to be arrested until we find out what the hell is going on. So I don't have an issue with them being arrested until they found out the actual truth, right? So this idea of like, what do you want not to arrest them? Like someone got shot, someone's killed, and not you can't, come on.
No, I was making an entirely different point. The point I was making was that we're bound between two systems. The system of criminality that runs our neighborhoods, which if we react to it, then we have to then deal with the system of government who actually polices our behavior. So we're not actually free between these two systems. Either we're bound to the forces of criminality that run the neighborhoods, or we take the things into our own hands. Well, then we have to rely upon, because they had to rely upon the system to free them. Because they could have just said, they could have gone to jail for murder for defending themselves. Correct. The boy could have spent the rest of his life in jail, tried as an adult. She could have been in jail. That's a chance. Why is that even a chance? That's a chance because we're bound to somebody else's system of laws. But then when we're in the hood, we're bound to another group of people's systems of laws. So we're stuck in this dual citizenship where we don't have any power. So that was the point. Is their freedom was taken on both ends. The man took their freedom by forcing them into a physical altercation. That's the system of criminality they had no choice in. And then they get stuck into another system, a system of law, which they have no choice in. That's a trick bag. That's a problem. You have no space to navigate, which is why people shut down and nobody steps in, because even if I do step in, I might go to jail, or either the system of the criminal system either kills me. Like everybody said, I wouldn't want my husband to step in. He might get shot. That's how you get killed. Okay, then you're afraid of the criminal system. Then on the other side, you're afraid of the legal system too. Because like, man, I do something, I might go to jail. I'm black. They might throw me in jail for life, even though I was defending myself. So what do? You're paralyzed. What do you, I'm not saying there's an answer to that. I'm just saying that people have to consider that when people find themselves in these situations, there's the parallel that Greg is making. It's real because it does happen, but it's happening not on the government level, not just on the government level. We're also under a state of oppression in the communities on the criminal level. So like there is a slippery slope, and the rights mean something, but we're stuck between rights and wrongs at the very same time. And there's no place for ordinary people to live. Like ordinary men must enforce the rules. But unfortunately, Greg, black people have a reality where we know that we're not ordinary. Because I know even you know, Greg, if a black man and a white man went down the street doing open carry exercises, they would get treated differently. I think even you know that it's visible. You can pull up the YouTube playlist. So there's a discernible difference in the treatment of people. And we know that, and we accept it. So we have to navigate that. So, but there is the hoods have become the concentration camps. There is an issue that Greg is talking about. Is just not the one we're addressing. Addressing the change of behavior out of fear or violence that leads somewhere dark every time. If the second video never came out, they probably would have been. But I do agree we need to do something, Greg. And that's when I was saying that all the people that stood there and watched, from the clerks, from the men in between the camera person and the woman, the fact that everybody just stood there and watched, that's a problem, because that's watching the Jewish people get hauled off to the camps. That's that moment. And then they came for me. And then they came for me. We can watch a man get ready to assault a woman, and everybody watches. That's the and then they came for me moment. They took the socialists, and then they took the labor people, and then they came for me. That's the problem. So that's how the community gets lost, because nobody's willing to put their life, nobody's willing to risk on the net. But why would they? Because they're stuck between the criminal and the legal elements. You're stuck in the middle. Rest in peace, MJ. But anyway, I know that was ranty, but I do think it's important because we have to figure out how to get unstuck. We got to get unstuck somehow. I mean, or just die here. That's okay. That's a choice. Slavery is a choice. You know, Kanye, slavery is a choice. We can just die in the trick bag. People die every day. You're going to die somewhere. But we keep complaining about it as if we want to do something about it. That's the thing that gets me. We complain about it a lot as if we want to do something. That's where I get. People come on these panels all the time. Black community, black. Okay, I'm thinking, okay, that sounds like y'all want to do something.
But Greg doesn't even
hear Mandrill say,
right?
Yeah, I don't.
Not
that's
you.
why I'm like, I can't.
Not you.
I'm just glad. I'm just glad I don't have to live in an environment where this law of the hood applies.
Yeah, man.
I'm just gonna keep pushing people to get out of those environments and don't make decisions that's gonna put you in there. Like having 4 kids with a nigga who made $40,000 a year. So, stay out of the environment. You won't have to live under this oppressive law.
I mean, under a system. Sorry, I was reading Greg's comment. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, and also in that situation, I'm not about to help you more. You want to help yourself. You heard that man say he was finna knock you the fuck out. And you kept talking too. So hey, she want the smoke. She want the smoke. Now, if she would have started trying to come towards the crowd and run away from him, and he started coming, like, I don't know. I know people don't want to believe this, but a lot of people who are just observing the stuff go down, sometimes they're like, people are weighing a decision if they want to jump in because of what you said. This man said he was going to knock her out. She kept talking. So, maybe if she would have started running, somebody would have jumped in there to like, hey, bro, leave her alone, leave her alone. I've seen many men in situations in the hood jump in and break stuff up. Like, hey, bro, let it go. Like, hey, come on, man, leave her alone. Like, stuff like that. But also, hey, he said he was finna hit you. She clearly want to keep going. So I don't know who these people are, what they got going on. Maybe they know each other. Maybe I don't know what's going on. But she clearly is calling his bluff. I mean, maybe she know him. Maybe this is what they do. Maybe they, I don't know.
Maybe it's what they do.
Maybe it's what they do.
This might be what I know. Couples who scrap though. I've seen couples who they be fighting. I've seen families they be fighting. They be fighting. I grew up in the hood, so like, unfortunately, there are people like that. They just be. That's what they do. They be arguing in public. They be squared up with each other. They be swinging on each other.
Yeah.
Hey,
my sister would have do like that right now.
That's what I'm saying. So if I'm in the hood and I see a man and a woman fighting, probably wouldn't have been the first time anyway. So probably won't be too compelled to jump in. Like when I stayed in the hood, we had neighbors above us. They stayed fighting. This lady, one night, they fight every day. You hear them in there scrapping, just fight. People calling the police. She go back. And she come out of the house. Somebody help me. Don't open that door.
Yeah.
That was response. My husband was like, you hear her? I was like, don't open that fucking door.
Man.
I mean,
I've seen it both ways. I done got involved with this stuff, and you send a dude on his way, and then she right back with him. Like
she's right there. At this point, it's like the fifth time.
What do you do? Yeah.
And then one of the neighbors let her in, and he came up there and started fighting the neighbor, pulled a gun on him. Like, bro, not doing it. Nope.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like I said, she if she's running her mouth like that and got hit in it, I understand the guy's position. All I'm saying is, you're the man in the situation. Hey, no, I understand.
He's not saying he agrees with it. He just doesn't
understand. I agree with it. I understand it because sometimes women go too far with what they say. So I understand him being frustrated to the point where he would like to hit her, but you never do that. Before, if you catch yourself, like my thing is this: if you feel the urge to hit that woman, walk outside and cool off, man. Walk outside and cool off and come back in. You know what I mean? Or just flat out, like if she wants to argue from the get-go, if someone wants to argue with you, just say, you know what, you got it. I thought it was something else. You know what I'm saying? Or if that person's wrong and say something to do with like the ticket number. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, call in order number 184. You know what I'm saying? And you're 184, but her order is 180. You know what I'm saying? She's thinking that she should come before you because she has the lower number, right? You just say, hey, it's just the ticket that they call, man. I don't know why it's taking so long for you to get your order. You can just leave it at that. Or whatever this whole situation was, man. He could have. It didn't have to go this far. He didn't have to go to the point where he had to hit her. He didn't. And I'm with Arshawn. Now I get it. I'm with Arshawn. In the hood, I've seen men de-escalate situations in the hood.
There's some hood code though. I didn't even think about this till just now. There's a little bit of hood code that I know would have had to have happened around my people. He was with his girlfriend. She should have had to fight. She was supposed to fight. You don't send the guy to fight. If that woman's with you, she does the fight. The guy doesn't go and hit the woman. She could have,
but then the girlfriend might have got shot. You know what I'm saying? So, or both of them. So I mean, the thing is, the best thing to do.
Girlfriend know he crazy and he be swinging on women. So she
here's
just,
the thing.
She just let him fight her because that's what he do.
But the thing is, that's why I put more of the responsibility. Again, the responsibility on the man. You should have the situational awareness to know that this situation is starting to boil. Okay, you chill that situation out, man. You should not be putting
This
your
is
hands
not
on
that.
a woman.
He is not that dude. Clearly,
Yeah, he's not that guy.
That's not his
Yeah, it's
MO.
not that guy.
That he's not
Okay,
that guy.
right. See, Bree, since he's not that guy, he got exactly what he.
I don't feel no type of way about this man being dead. So
Yo.
you're not gonna make. I don't feel no. I'm just saying though, but like you can't.
I don't think anybody's been sympathetic.
Yeah, you can't put codes of ethics and morals on people who don't run by those codes and ethics. And that's my whole point. Like, oh man, well, and once again, that's why it's best to take responsibility for yourself. You can't depend on people running on your moral code. You can't depend on that man being raised not to hit woman. You can't depend on any kind of moral code when it comes to the Black community to be safe. You're not safe to run out your mouth and pop off at a man who just told you he was going to hit you, because he clearly don't run on the same code as a man who's not going to put his hands on a woman. He don't run on the code as a man who's going to do all of that stuff you just said. So let's not run on a moral code and project that on the people who clearly are showing you that that's not how they roll. If he told me he was going to knock me the fuck out, I'm just going to believe him. I don't know this man. So that's the problem. You need to hold yourself, and you need to assess every situation in the sense of, what can I control? What do I know right now? What I know is this man look like he about to square over here. That's what I do know. I don't know nothing else about. He ain't gonna de-escalate. He not sending his girlfriend after me. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like some of this is also hood culture. So
yeah, it is. But my
people in the hood are not shocked at seeing a man rock a woman. I'm sorry. I wish I could say
they didn't budge until the shot happened. They didn't budge.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I've lived in the hood. I've stayed in hood apartments. I am not shocked to see a nigga hit a woman in the hood. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, it's just the reality.
Yeah. Because see, I would have, when he was talking about squaring up with her, I'm like, okay, it's about to go down. Like, boy, it's time to start moving. Like this, like it's table moving time. Like everybody stood still, which was what's weird to me. I would have been like, okay, it's about to get. Something's about to happen.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Are these people from the hood? Because I honestly, even when I saw, if I was in there, I would have saw old boy in the doorway with his hands in his pocket with a hoodie. And I would have seen the woman, and I would have seen him intently looking at that woman. I'd be like, hey, somebody finna get shot. Let me scoot on out of this motherfucker. Okay, so I don't know where these people were, but nobody had situational awareness
at all. No emotional intelligence, no situational awareness, nothing.
My thing is, because I really am curious as to what the argument was about. What was he yelling at her about?
Yeah, we won't know.
No one knows.
Probably never know.
Yeah, I really am curious about that. And my thing is, you don't punch a woman square in the jaw like you don't. My thing is, how weak can he be?
Nigga, you do. If you a crazy ass, if you crazy.
Oh yeah, okay, your crazy ass is gone now.
He is,
look
but
at
at the
crazy
same
guy.
Southern accent came out, boy.
I'm saying, listen, it does. Listen, you're crazy.
So it took him hitting you in the face for you to peep he a crazy nigga. That's my problem.
I don't think he was crazy. I don't think he was crazy.
No, I'm just saying. Exactly I'm not talking about mentally ill. I'm talking about as a woman.
Yes.
Do it take you, this nigga really hitting you square in your jaw for you to peep that that's what it takes for you to realize I'm in danger. What that little rap thing? I'm in danger.
I need that one.
Yeah, I'm in danger. That's what it takes for you to know you're in danger. You too late. If it takes somebody hitting you square in your jaw for you to know you're in danger.
No, Buddy shouldn't have hit that woman. If she was hitting him, I would say, okay, hey, it's self-defense. Lady, you should keep everybody, man and woman, keep your hands to yourself. Because once you put your hands on somebody, you've now turned this situation into something completely different. And now it simply goes wherever it's going to go. An argument, those are just words exchanged. It stays there. Once one of you decide to put your hands on somebody.
Unfortunately, Mandrill, it's not hood culture. So it's not.
Fair enough.
People get their hands put on them all the time for just saying stuff that somebody don't like. You can get your hands put on you for looking at somebody too long, a millisecond too long in the hood. You can get your ass beat for wearing the wrong color down the wrong street in the hood. You can get your ass beat for saying something under your breath as you were walking past somebody and they thought you said something crazy to them. Okay, this is the
dumb stuff.
I grew
their ass beat for less.
I understand hood culture, but also in the hood. Wait. In my generation, here's what we understood. We understood violence. Like, okay, I can't go beat him up, but what's he gonna do? And see, we taught bullies a lesson when it came around. Okay, now you can pick on that boy if you want to. That little boy pick up a brick and go upside your head. We ain't finna help you.
Well, he did pull the hammer.
And they say where it's like they look. The kids' mothers would come out and say, "I ain't calling the ambulance or nothing for you. You better leave folks alone." You know what I'm saying? Like the ambulance or nothing. The ambulance. And so
shouldn't have been over there running your mouth.
Should have been over there running your mouth.
Once again, we see this same culture play out in this situation, and everybody's shocked and flabbergasted that nobody went and helped that woman who was running her mouth. You sitting over there running your mouth to this man who told you he was gonna hit you. So this is hood culture. I'm not coming in here to save your ass. You should have shut the fuck up and kept it going, or square up. That's hood culture.
Yeah, it's gotten bad.
I blame on both sides, but at the same time. Man, at the same time, man, bruh, you're a grown man, and you punched a woman in the face. No, okay, bro, you get what you get. Little man went to the car, went to the trunk, got the blinky, came in and handled business. Bravo. You got what you deserve. You ain't have to put your hands on a woman like that.
I'm not gonna say bravo.
I'm saying bravo, little man. You 14, know how to handle business like that. Good job. Just don't make it a habit. That's all I'm asking you, little man.
Unfortunate
if you're watching this, don't make it a habit.
Because bravo, this boy is 14 now. He has to live his whole life, knowing that he killed somebody. Like, what kind of damage? Look, I mean, it's just an unfortunate situation. I mean, I understand that he was put in a situation and he did what he had to do. I'm not negating that. I'm just saying that, like, at the end of the day, there's no bravo from me.
Listen, I don't know, man. I don't know that he's going to contextualize it the same way y'all ladies said it. I mean, possibly, I think he'll, like, you know what I'm saying? The narrative, I would imagine that he saved his mother. You know, because that's what his family's going to say. His friends are going to say, they're going to, I don't know.
Right thing. I don't think he'll feel a way about it. He seemed like he about that, like, to some degree. The way he would post it up, I don't know. He seemed like he know a few shooters, or he at least think them. I don't know. The way he was pulled up on that door, I'm not worried about the child. He grew up in the hood. I don't think he's gonna be traumatized.
We'll see. But let's get ready to wrap up. Let's everybody get their final thoughts. Was there anything else that y'all saw in this that y'all thought like was interesting, like what that thought should like come out of this? I know Candace said, can we like focus on what she could have done to, like the CPI part of it, the whole, training people to de-escalate. Is there something else that you thought should have come out of this conversation, out of these? I know like we use these one-off scenarios to extrapolate a lot out of it, but what do you all think should have come out of this conversation that maybe hasn't? And then like, just give us your final thoughts. Let's start with you, Mandrell.
What happened? Would you say?
What about Bree?
What's going on?
Okay, Bree, go ahead.
That's why I was like, what was that about? Okay. The only thing I think that that's me. I think when we have these conversations, I think it's important to keep the conversations in the reality in which they take place. This looks like the hood. I mean, there's a certain hood culture that we can't have this conversation if we're not going to acknowledge hood culture. I think it's a waste of time to say stuff like men shouldn't hit women and women blah 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 blah. The shit don't go down that way. I think if you spend a lot of time saying that kind of stuff, like I think the point that I was trying to make with de-escalation is just like, I know that's something that I've been trained to do. I know that's something Ann was trained to do, but I know most people don't know that. So that's more so my point of pointing that out, and also pointing out, I think that we have to keep bringing into this conversation, which I also think is missing from a lot of our culture, the responsibility as a parent, in that and owning that part of your responsibility and what that means at all times. Sometimes I think that's missing. I think once you're a parent, you have a responsibility to your child. And sometimes you need to be making decisions, understanding the weight of that decision, especially if you're a single parent. So I just want to hear that more in these conversations.
Okay. All right, man. John, you ready? You paying attention now? You with us? Are you back?
Yeah. What's the question? I want to be clear, so I don't get accused of flip flopping.
Final thoughts, man. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. Listen, he is the male, and I do put more responsibility on men when it comes to a situation like this: de-escalation, situational awareness, managing your emotions. I do put more responsibility on men. Call it bias if you like. Fair enough, I'll be that. However, he did not have to put his hands on that woman. Now, she should have kept her mouth shut. She didn't have to keep running her mouth, but at the same time, she's just running her mouth. Okay? That's all. You put your hands on someone, now it's violent. And people don't understand violence. Hopefully, everyone got a good lesson on this regarding the story, a good lesson on what violence actually is and can look like. If your bottom line is, if you're not prepared to go either as far or further than your opponent is, don't engage in violence because you're not ready. I know myself. That's why I either de-escalate or remove myself from the situation entirely, because 99.999% of people are not prepared to go as far as I am. I know this. Once you do violence, you do it all the way or not at all. That's where I am with it. Getting into a street fight is stupid. And if I engage in one, I'm going to be here. That person's not. Male, female, trans, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Call yourself what you like. Everybody can get it when it comes to violence. That's me. And I know I'm not the only one on the planet like that. It's just rare to run across a person with that mindset about it. So keep your hands to yourself, people. Otherwise, you can do like him. You can fuck around and find out. And I'm going to laugh like I'm doing now. Now I'll land my plane there.
Fafo. What about you, Candid Ann? What you got?
I'm going to pretty much just repeat basically what we've already spoken about. Like, there is some culpability on everyone, except for the kid probably that was involved here. And so, I'm just going to say the same thing I've been saying the whole time. Obviously she should have tried to de-escalate it if she could have. Obviously he doesn't have the right to put his hands on her. Obviously, just the same thing that we're all saying. This, it's hard for me. Like, I'm reading Greg's comments, and it's just hard for me to he obviously doesn't live where we live, and it's just kind of difficult for me to read his comments and to think about the Bronx. Think about, we need good people to regulate because the police are that's your reality as a white person, as he says, a redneck. I don't know. I think he said what he was. That's your reality, and the law treats you a type of way compared to in the neighborhood that we come from, at least where I come from. It's completely different. And so keeping that hood culture in mind, and knowing good and goddamn well the police is probably not gonna you would not surprise me. Nothing really surprises me too much, but that's besides the point. My son, but at any rate, I'm just gonna repeat basically what Bree said. This hood culture here, we gotta try to at the end of the day, the idea is to stay alive, to live another day. And so I'm open to all of the options, whether it means de-escalating, whether it means get back in the car, whether it means good men help out, whether it means, I think Arshawn was talking about what you call it, men, the other men stepping up to keep the other men accountable. Like, hey, bro, that's not right. I'm open to all of it. I am not even pushing back on any possibility that would have kept everybody alive, to live and to learn from it, So I'm not really saying this. I'm just open to figuring out what could be have done to keep this man alive, to keep his hands off of her, and whatever that takes. I'm all for it. So I don't really have much to add to it. It's just the situation is fucked up to me, and it's not going to be the last time. We've heard the situation occur with, the guy in the Bronx there was a kid with chips, and he sent I don't know, the girl sent the guy in there with the chips, and they got into a knife fight, and he died. I mean, this situation happens over and over and over, and it won't be the last time. Before the year is out, we're going to hear another situation in which some gunfight happened because of some argument over potato chips, over a Snickers bar, over, someone stepped on my shoe. It's the same shit over and over. So at one point, I agree with Bree. Get yourself out of the fucking hood. Get yourself out of the hood, because these men, they're unhinged. These men are, if you want to call them feminine, you want to call them dangerous, you want whatever the hell the acronyms and the adjectives that you want to apply, they're dangerous. So get yourself into a situation in which you are protected, in which the violence is not a problem. Obviously anything could happen anywhere, but you want to be out of these situations in which the propensity for this to happen more often. You're not putting yourself in the situation. So if that means getting yourself out of the hood, not getting hot dogs at 11 o'clock in the south part of the Chicago, like the fuck? Like hot dogs though?
Hey.
Come on.
They tasty.
They could be, but you could like buy a pack at the supermarket and get the fuck on home. Like it takes boiling water to make that happen. What are we doing here?
Let me see. Times they are a changing. Let me see. Sometimes you got to get the hot dog when the hot dog needs to get got. You know what I'm saying? Forget about what time it is.
Do you think anybody had a hot dog after that situation? Did anybody get any hot dogs? The woman,
they probably had a heck of an appetite. They probably ran home with their hot dogs and ate it before the cops said turn yourself in. They might have scarfed that down like this might be my last meal.
She had a jail sandwich.
Yeah. So I to close this out, I'm sad the Breeze sound went out because I was gonna take a shot at her. Because she took a shot at the men saying, you shouldn't say stuff like men shouldn't hit women. That's not the reality. And then she said something about people should use de-escalation techniques. It's the same thing. We all have a belief about how people should move that we bring to these conversations, including saying stuff like Kansas said, get out of the hood. All of this stuff is easier said than done. CPI, men shouldn't hit, all this stuff is easier said than done. But it takes a lot of people making decisions, like the micro level decisions, the day-to-day decisions to do better. Man, we can't make anybody else move better. So we have to prepare for the world we are in, but try to shape the world that we want, like simultaneously. Like Candidate kept saying, two things can be true at once. So we do have to prepare for what we have, but also try to prepare for what we want at the same time. If we want something different, my only personal thing is I really wish we would. I know a lot of people had these conversations. I know a lot of people are going to talk about this topic and the next shooting and the next shooting. I know we're going to keep talking about it. But I would like to see something to change out of all of this, like some change. And I know I came to this realization, like the people that actually need the most, like the people who are punching women in hot dog stands are not watching some of these conversations. So a lot of the stuff we say just falls on people who also don't believe in women just getting socked because they were being mouthy. And I don't know what to do from these situations. I know nobody in my family is going out hitting women. Anybody that I knew that was abusive to their women or children, I don't know anymore. I don't know what else we can do other than like turning those type of people into the cops, because we're not allowed to police the communities ourselves. We don't have a place to lock them up. Don't have the money to build them. So I don't know what the solution is. I'm just saying I know not doing anything got us where we are. Just throwing our hands up gets us where we are. It gets other people making the decisions. People who are willing to take the power into their hands, they get to make all of the decisions if we don't take any power into our hands and we don't make any of those decisions for ourselves. So eventually, I know we're going to have to kind of step out if we want something different. And we're going to have to face down one of the people who are choosing our lives for us in the hoods. Either we're going to have to face down the people in the streets that are deciding that we're not allowed to get hot dogs at 11 p.m. Because why should you be unsafe at 11 p.m. or 12 p.m. or 1 a.m.? And why should you ever be unsafe? Because they're out there and we all know it and we've accepted it. We've abandoned the streets to these people to say that you're not allowed to go get hot dogs at 11 p.m. because we know that they run the streets. We know that this is their area. We've abandoned, we've given it over. Our minds have conceptualized nothing different than that this is how it is and this is how it's going to be. And because of that, I think we were not going to take any methods to stop that. And we're not going to stop the other gang, the cops. We're not going to do anything against the government that's oppressive and does whatever it wants. Everybody gets to make decisions about our lives but us. And to me, that's not okay. And at some point, I'd like to see us collectively start to coalesce around that principle and start to do something different. Again, I don't know what, but I want to have those type of conversations that we start to think about solutions differently. But I found out here on YouTube that not everybody wants to have those type of conversations. That, the analytics say what they say. But I will be 100 bitches from a man. Just don't touch me. You'll take all the language. You just ain't gonna don't touch me. I should have the right to not be touched. It puts me in a place I don't like and I carry. So please, absolutely, don't touch nobody.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like when the gentleman said that it scares him that kids are sleeping in bathtubs to avoid stray guns. Before this conversation occurred, I was telling Sean that I had a house and a stray bullet. I lived in New Haven, and literally my husband was sitting at a desk on a computer, and a stray bullet from outside came into my home. So, when you guys are talking like this, is just because I don't live in the hood right now. Don't think that I trust me, like there's police reports, like this has actually fucking happened. A stray bullet from outside, it pierced and came into my fucking house, right? What did I do? I said, fuck this fucking neighborhood, and I got the fuck out of that fucking neighborhood. I'm not lying. I used to go to city council meetings. I used to do all this kind of bullshit. Oh, I'm gonna be a productive member of this society. I said, fuck the hood, and I got the fuck out of there. I saved up my money, and I got the fuck out of there. So when I tell you that I agree with Bree in this nice calm voice that you guys are normally used to hearing, right? It's not because I don't have any fire behind me. Like this is a lived experience for me. So that's the reason why I completely agree with Bree in terms of get out of there, get out, retreat, in whatever manner you can. Whether it's get out of the neighborhood, get out of the situation, get out of there.
Yeah, I hear you. But everybody, tomorrow, 7 p.m., I will be here with Mr. He Said for a conversation. So please tune into that. And Thursday, I don't know. I don't think I planned anything for Thursday. I don't think I put anything on the books. Like, I don't think anything is in StreamYard. So I don't think there's a thumbnail for Thursday. I may not be here Thursday. I'll let y'all know. You'll feel if a thumbnail pops up, you'll see something. If not, you may not. But I know I'll be here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Talking with brother. He said, I know that should be a good conversation because, I like the hair stripe. I got to catch up on my stuff from over the weekend, but I like some hair stripe for sure. I'm not speaking from ignorance. I'm saying you're facing structural barriers. Yeah, facts. Get out of there. I get it. I get it. Just everybody, just up and leave the hood. Take everything you have right now and start walking. Take everything, put it on your back. Start walking tonight, right? You'll be out of there. You'll be somewhere different. And whatever happens to you after that, who knows? Because we're not here to give you answers, guys. We're just here to tell you something very general that won't really help you. And touch me slow walking and touch me slow walking and flower bringing at their home going. You dirty. That was almost like that Biggie line. Nor am I diminishing your points, Ann. I'm just speaking from what I've experienced. Yeah, we've all had something, and I wasn't trying to say nobody's gone through anything. I'm not saying that. Yeah, I'm not saying hasn't gone through anything. I know Candidate was talking about the bullets. It doesn't matter where you live. Violence can touch you anywhere. There is no place where violence can't touch you. So I don't think anybody was thinking anybody was like too bougie to understand what the hood is talking about. It is some people have not that you haven't lived it. It's just you're not currently experiencing it in a way that is so like on your skin. Sometimes like we're wearing it, like we feel it at every moment. Because we're like next door to something like every day, like have something come through your house once and you got out of there, but some of us can't. Some of us don't have those skills, the savings, the earnings, all of the different things that it takes to get out of the hood. I know it's good to say, but it's just as much as saying like men shouldn't hit women. It just, I know y'all got to say it. That's cool. There shouldn't be a hood in America. Violence is everywhere, but the hood is consistent. And that's the point I was making. It's consistently violent. So it's a little different from the people who don't live in a consistently violent area. There's trauma that surrounds it, and it shapes the way you move and the way you think. And just saying get out of there when that's somebody's home. People romanticize their home, which people romanticize the hood. Everybody's not mentally attuned to that. So I don't know. I don't know how to fix the problem. I just know there's a bigger problem than the way we speak about it. But I will see all of y'all next time. I started with Umar. We're going to end with Umar. Brother Umar, all about the hood. All about the hood.
Who the fuck are you? Excuse me. I only debate my equals. All others I teach.
Need all the 150s, let's get it. I'm with the shit, so let's get it. Killing it, leaving that body no medics. I feel like I'm Lenny Kravitz.
You have cooned so bad, my brother, that they damn near need to put your face in the dictionary next to the word coon. And I don't mean no disrespect, my brother. White man play you like he play Sega. He play you, this is you. He ain't even got to be in the hood. He got this. He played Negroes like this. But they not speaking up against your oppression. I wish another coon, boot-licking, shut-jiving Uncle Tom will get in my face talking about we need to be patient.
We gotta sweat. Y'all don't want to sweat. Y'all don't want to sweat. Y'all just want to be comfortable.
It's none of your concern. You don't have the right to ask me where I've been. You don't have a right to know what I was doing. You messed up, and I took a break. And guess what? The next time you mess up, I'm going to take another break.